How strong are these? Shouldn't have 2, right?
I definitely wouldn't have 2 of those.
Okay.
Duncan Trussell. It's 240 milligrams of
fuck
caffeine.
that. No, I can feel it rising inside of me.
Yeah, baby. See, why do you want to ruin Star Wars? What?
I was kidding. I'm not gonna do that, man.
I heard a lot of people were saying that they heard it was crap and that it wasn't good, but everybody I know that saw it said it was awesome.
I loved it.
You loved it.
I went with people who didn't like it. It's
Really?
like, what are you thinking, man? What did you think we were gonna go see? It's called Star Wars. Like, it's the most obvious kind of thing. I don't know why people have expectations for Star Wars.
What was the expectations?
I guess they're looking for a plot. I guess they're looking for, no, you know what I mean? I guess they're looking for some kind of like deep, like meaning or something like Quentin Tarantino or some Kubrick-esque thing.
Right.
But it's Star
No.
Wars. It's a space opera. It's like,
Yeah.
go in there with no expectations, be happy for the colors. That's
Yeah.
it. The beautiful colors. And then after that, if there's something else, it's things flying through space and lasers.
It's a very confined genre. It's very confined. You know, it's not going to step outside of the box. It's not going to be weird sexually. It's not going to have some strange murder tension. There's not going to be any unrequited love. There's going to be just some normal space themes with Joseph Campbell's hero's journey.
That's it. It's mixed in with a lot of mystical stuff that you can connect to, which is beautiful. It's great. I had a great time.
Have you ever heard Lucas talk about his friend Joseph Campbell? Like, literally wrote Star Wars based on Joseph Campbell's steps of a hero's journey. It's fascinating. They were good friends.
Yeah, The Hero with 1,000 Faces is his classic book.
Yeah.
And then he did, have you seen his interviews with Bill Moyers?
Yes.
The Power of Myth. That was fantastic.
Yeah, he's awesome, or was awesome.
So Joseph Campbell used to go up and give a lecture at Lucas Ranch every year on mythology.
What's Lucas Ranch?
Where George Lucas
George
made Star
Lucas
Wars.
Ranch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Up in, I think it's Marin or Sonoma. And so he would go up when they were working on the original Star Wars and give a lecture to the crew, everybody, about mythology every year. And then when Campbell died, your friend and mine, Stanley Krippner, filled in for him.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, Stanley's amazing, too. What
Stanley
an interesting guy that was.
I just saw him a week ago. Duncan happened to text me while I was doing a podcast with Stanley, or just finished. And I said, "Oh, you got to meet my friend Duncan. He's really interesting. He's a comedian, but he's really into the spiritual stuff. And he just got back from hanging out with Ram Dass in Hawaii." And Stanley says, "Well, does he know that Ram Dass was a stand-up comedian for a time?"
I feel like he got him mixed up with Timothy Leary, because I know Timothy Leary went on a tour doing like some kind of thing called stand-up, but I don't think Ram Dass did it. But I know Timothy Leary tried stand-up.
Well, he said he saw him in the Village in a club.
Ram Dass?
Ram Dass, yeah.
Well, hey, why not, man? He's probably on acid.
Richard Alpert.
He's probably thinking, fuck it, why not? Let me give it a shot.
I mean, he's a great speaker, and he is pretty funny.
Yeah, you said he's like a very humorous guy to talk to,
Yeah,
right?
he's super funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I've noticed that seems to be a quality in people who have a real spiritual practice. Like,
They're funny.
They're always funny. They always have this real specific, bullshit style of humor. It's really hard to offend them. That's you know, quite often that's how I can tell if somebody's got a real practice, is they're usually impossible to offend. Like there isn't anything that you can say that's gonna make them upset. But you know, the alarm bells start going off in my mind when you get around people who you say something and you see, oh shit, I triggered the alarm system. I have offended this person, which is really curious to me. Like, how are you in tune with the universe, and yet still something that a monkey descendant says out of the end of his feeding tube causes you to feel revolted?
You're so vulnerable. If you're so tough, why are you such a pussy, essentially?
Well,
psychically.
Well, not like it's like the opposite of tough. It's
no,
like
yeah, but I agree. Like sophisticated. Well, like you know what's going on.
It's the way they've described it, or I've heard it described, which is super cool. Whenever Ram Dass talks about his guru Neem Karoli Baba, is that there was nothing there. Like there's no obstruction. Like everything was just sort of going through this person. You know, as opposed to like me. I get on the phone with Bank of America. They've frozen my card because I went to Australia, and like I'm seething with
right.
rage, you know, like, what the fuck? I'm in another fucking country. I have to check in with my fucking bank, you know, or whatever it is that like triggers you to freeze up. Some people, they get to the point theoretically where that like convulsive seizure, like freezing up doesn't happen.
I'll tell you, I can get that in spurts. I can get that in spurts from yoga. And here's how I can prove it. A guy fucking nailed me on the highway while he wasn't paying attention. Hit the brakes, skid. I watched him plow into my fucking car, and my white Porsche, the expensive one. And it's a rare car, too. I'm like, fuck, I hope he didn't total the car. I got out, and the first thing I said was, are you okay? I go, I'm okay. We're cool. And I literally wasn't upset at all.
Yeah, that.
I wasn't upset, but I've been doing yoga like 4 days a week,
Right.
and I was a little high, you know, probably still from the afternoon. I think I was probably like at least under the influence of cannabis to the point where I was like a little bit more relaxed. But I can only get there for like bursts. Like
Yep.
when you're busy with work and life, and it can overwhelm, and you get mad at like someone doing a shitty job parking. Like, come on,
Yep.
fuckhead, park your fucking car, stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like you're backing up again. Oh my god, look at this retard. You're backing up again, and then I'll be like, I'll catch myself like, why?
Yeah.
I'm not even talking to this guy. This guy's
Right.
in a car, you know, 100 feet from me, and I'm openly mocking him out loud.
Yeah, and corroding your insides as you do it.
Yeah.
Now, I heard
Yeah.
Wim Hof talking about this, and maybe it was on your podcast. He was talking about being under the ice and his retinas froze,
Yeah,
and then he
yeah.
couldn't find the hole to get out.
Yeah.
And whoever he was talking with asked him, like, so, you know, what was the panic like? What, you know? And he said, well, you know, when I'm in those situations, or like when I got lost in a whiteout on Mount Everest in my shorts, there's no stress. Because then it's all just like it takes you back to yourself, to who you really are. And I know in my core, I am like, you know, competent and, you know, confident. And so he was saying, like, it's been demonstrated that you can generate more stress hormones lying in your bed and just thinking about something stressful
wow.
than what actually happens when you're in a moment of actual danger. You sort of shift into another gear. Like when that car hit you, that changed your whole world, right? It's like now you're framing it as, am I going to survive this?
Well, I knew I was going to survive because he wasn't going that fast.
Oh, okay.
But I was just thinking that my car is going to be totaled.
And you're watching him in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, I was stopped.
Yeah.
And, you know, people, dude, some guy almost hit me today. On his phone, like with his phone literally on the steering wheel as he's texting and driving. It just went right into my lane.
Wow.
It's constant. People are constantly doing it. They're just not paying attention. And if something happens, when the guy rear-ended me, the lane was closed for some reason, like construction. So everybody had gotten to that on-ramp on like Hollywood and or the 101 and Highland, you know, that exit. And it was shut down for whatever reason. So we were all stopped in a big line. And this dude just barely paid attention. And then all of a sudden, shit! And I could see his face, like gritting his teeth and pulling his face. I'm watching in my rear view, tensing up. Bang! My car stalls out, goes flying into another lane.
That's where you don't want to be on a motorcycle.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, God.
my god, yeah. That's so dangerous. If you get hit like that on a motorcycle, you might be paralyzed. You might be dead easily, and you can't get off.
And
in
it's
time.
not your fault. That's
Nothing
the
you can
thing.
do.
I mean, I rode a bike for 7.5 years, and I always felt like I've got everything under control. But there's those
do you
wild
jump
cards.
off if you have the time? Do you jump off and get the fuck out of the way?
Well, I wasn't like a competitive, you know,
No, I mean, if
racer
you're
or anything.
stopped dead and you see a guy coming from behind you, do you jump off
I
or
don't
do you
know.
let it hit you? What the fuck do you do?
I don't know, but I'll
don't
tell
know,
you,
on a
you're
bike.
hyper aware of all the space around you on a
you
bike.
have
So
to.
I'm always, if I'm stopped and I know, like on a highway situation, I'm always watching behind me.
Yeah,
Because you
have to
feel
be.
you develop that vulnerable sense.
Scary.
Fuck that, man.
Bikes are
Fuck
scary.
that. Remember Bill Burr telling us he was, I guess at the ice house, he's like, riding a motorcycle is like, imagine sitting on the hood of your car.
Yeah.
Driving that way.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
That's what it's
Yeah.
like. You look
That's
down at the
terrifying.
road buzzing by you at 70 miles an hour, and it's
Yeah.
like I could reach out my toe and just grind it off. You know? It's,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a metaphor for so many other things in life, right? Do you really want to be? You want to have the illusion of separation, or are you actually safer being intimate with the danger of what's going on? So you're hyper vigilant. Because in a car, you're looking at your phone, you're fucking with the radio, because you've got this sense that I'm in a room and everything's
Yeah.
cool until you hit the tree. You know.
There's definitely that. You can definitely get too detached, and as things get more and more automated, it's going to be weirder and weirder. Because now you can tell your car things, like you've used that Hey Siri function.
Yes.
So you ask your car to text people,
Yeah.
tell it to send.
Last time I was on your
that
podcast,
it
you and
went
I did
off.
this whole thing,
Yeah.
and I saw a bunch of people tweeted like,
mad.
"Man, it fucked up my phone."
That's
I shut it off.
They're listening to the
I
podcast
shut
in the
it off
car.
because I'm like, how hard is it for me to press the button? All I have to do is press the button and then I say it. You know, I don't have to say do the Hey Siri thing. But my
Right.
point being is, they have the Teslas now that they're coming with. They have a new download that allows you to have your car automate itself. Like you set the directions and it navigates.
Yeah, I've seen
it
that.
drives.
Yeah.
It fucking drives itself. So like then it's going to get real weird when we switch back and forth between that and then actual driving. Like the space out factor of people, like when they have to drive again, they might not be used to it.
Yeah, it's the space between automation and like semi-automation and full automation that is going to be really dangerous. But man, the dream is you leave your house, your car looks like a little living room, a little pod with a couch in it, coffee maker, a TV, and you just sit on the couch, tell the car where take me to Vegas, and it just takes you there, and you just relax and you sleep. You can look out the window. The interstates are just going to look like houses.
Yeah,
you know?
but you miss you with your aviator sunglasses on, the wind
driving
blowing in
gloves.
your hair. Driving gloves. How about driving shoes? Let's get crazy.
Oh yeah, with
Some
little
driving
nubs
shoes.
on
They
them.
have driving shoes?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And you're shifting the gears. Let's say you have like an old Fiat or something cool where you look
Yeah.
like you're a poet or something.
Sure. I'm sure there are people back.
Scarf over your shoulder.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there were carriage drivers
Your
who are
modern
like,
day version.
imagine what, but think of missing the lash as it slaps onto the horse's back.
The smell of the farts.
Yeah. I'm sure it's just like everyone always like there's a nostalgia attached to antiquated technologies, but it's like, sure, great. But I'm going to be sitting in my pleasure pod with VR goggles on as I get taken to Florida.
Pleasure pod. Where Alf, the sacred river, flows.
But you're missing
Yeah.
the pleasure of the wooden wheel losing traction on the muddy roads.
Exactly.
The box, the non-aerodynamic
Yeah.
box being dragged by horses starts to go sideways near the edge of the cliff. And you're like, what an adventure. What a great time to be alive. Well, I don't even have to ride the horse. I can ride in a box behind the horse. Modern technology is awesome.
Progress.
And you'd be in that box with fine silk,
Yes.
like velour seating.
Yeah.
Everything would
Women
be like,
with push-up
yes,
bras.
the corsets. They all
Yeah,
have
corsets.
Yeah.
And they all have
Lots of
big
ruffles.
flowy skirts.
Fucking
Hoops.
bandits. You had
Imagine
to
trying to
work-
bang a chick in one of those skirts. What a disaster. You can't even, you got to make a choice. Either you don't see her vagina or you don't see her face. It's one of the
It's
other.
one or the other.
You can't have it both ways. It's like, if you push that thing up, she's gone. Where'd you go? I want to see you. I want to see you too. I gotta, hold on. Let me get to
That's funny. You know, Hasidic Jews have sex through a sheet with a hole cut in it.
My
What
friend John
the
used to have
hell?
a joke about it, that the women used to look at the clothesline to see who had the biggest hole. John Tobin.
The
I
thing
like
of-
to think about that stuff, man. Like, who's the first? Like, someone had to be the first person to be like, you know what? Let's put a big sheet over you and cut a hole right over your pussy so I don't see you anymore. Like, that didn't evolve,
Not,
did
you
it?
don't even touch. It's not just to not see you. Your bodies don't touch together.
So someone invented that, though, right? There was a person who's like, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Let's start putting the women in blankets and fucking a hole. Right? It doesn't evolve, right, Chris? It's like there's one person who's incredibly crazy, I guess.
Well, it may
suppressed.
have evolved, It may have just been like a hanky over someone's face initially, and then it grew. You never know. It may have started as a blindfold.
But it implies a communication about it. Like you have to tell your friends, like, well, I put a handkerchief over her face last night. Maybe you guys should start doing that.
Well,
Yeah.
even crazier that it took off. It's not like one guy doing it. Like Hasidic Jews, it's a huge population of people in America. Like in
Right.
New York City, there's a very big community of Hasidic Jews.
Yeah.
And they're all doing that with the blanket.
I don't know if they all
question.
do it. I don't know.
It's a sheet,
and,
right?
and I think the women all shave their heads and wear wigs,
Good.
too.
Good,
See,
shave it.
I see it as an
No
expression.
makeup either.
You want everyone
No
to
makeup and no talking. What the fuck? They have to shave their heads and wear a wig.
I think.
Jesus
I think.
Christ, that's
Think
so
about it. And the Arabs make them cover their hair, right?
Oh,
Hair
it's
is
so
erotic.
crazy.
I think it's an expression of anti-eroticism, anti-pleasure, right?
Huh.
You're only fucking to have kids. There's no pleasure
Right.
involved. So we're gonna do as much as possible to remove everything that isn't purely functional.
Right.
How bizarre.
Yeah. You know, the thing you're talking about, the Tesla thing, the thing that's bizarre about that is in the fine print it says it's in beta. You want your car,
Jesus
a
Christ.
self-driving car that's in beta? No thanks. It says that
Yeah.
they're not responsible for any accidents. So you should always, watch the road and be prepared to step in if something goes wrong. Like, well, thanks for nothing.
Back in my computer making days, I used to have friends that would get the latest builds of software, of operating systems rather, and so they would run like beta versions of like new Windows operating
Yeah.
systems, and the shit was always crashing. But it was kind of half of the fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Half of the fun for those guys was like saying, "Hey man, I'm using Windows NT, blah blah blah,
Right.
and this is the new shit, and it's really only for servers, so I have to have a workaround with certain drivers for video cards." Like,
Jesus.
there was all this crazy shit they used to do.
Remember those, like, when you got Windows, you had to get this giant pack of discs. Remember
Yes,
that? There
I
was
do.
so many, man. Remember,
Yeah.
it was like sometimes you'd get two of these tubes filled with those things.
Remember, you would start off with a floppy?
Yeah.
You'd have to start out with a floppy. That was like your installed
Your
disc.
boot
Is that how it
disc.
worked? Yeah, the floppy was like you'd stick that in, and then you'd have to stick CD-ROMs in. Like, what in the fuck?
My first exposure to computers was when I worked in real estate in New York, in the Diamond District, full of Hasidic Jews. That's how I know this.
Yeah, there you go.
And the guy had a computer that was the size of a refrigerator, and one of my jobs was to back up the discs every week. And you'd pull out these drawers and put this like thing down and turn it and pull it out, and the disc was about that big.
Wow.
You're
Yeah.
showing your hands like a
Oh,
large
sorry, that's
open
right.
album.
Bigger than an album. Yeah, like a large pizza.
A large pizza.
Yeah, they
And how
were
many
big.
gigs was on that?
I don't know. I think it was megabytes.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
This was
Isn't that
like
hilarious?
86 or so.
That's so funny.
Wow.
It's so funny, like the amount of storage space that we have now. It's kind of nuts. And then also like that so much of it is in the cloud.
Yeah.
Like if you notice like on the new iPhone software, if you doesn't download all your songs. It shows you all your songs, but when you go to play them, it streams them.
Yeah, I don't get that because I want the shit on my phone. So if
Exactly.
I'm not connected, or
Yeah.
I don't have to pay for the data, it's my fucking stuff. I got
Yeah.
128 gigs on my phone. Fill it with music. I can't figure out how to
Exactly.
do it.
Well, you set it so that it's available offline, and then you download all of them. You have to download all of them. It's super annoying. I did it in the hotel the other day. It's like now downloading 847 songs,
Wow.
and I was like, "What the fuck?" But when you're in a place that doesn't have cell phone service and you go to your music list, like I was trying to use it in the gym, there was no service. I was like, "Oh, you fuckers! It's not on my phone."
Yeah.
And I had to figure it out. That's the complaints. Back in the day,
Yeah.
that wasn't your complaint. Your
Back
complaint
in the
was,
carriage and
don't
horse
catch
days.
cholera as you're on your fucking slippery ride over the top of the mountain where you might wind up eating all your friends
Yeah,
because you get
that's
stuck up there.
crazy, man, that we are constantly surrounded by some cloud of invisible data that consists of all information that has ever been recorded. That's crazy.
Did you hear about that guy that was, he went to sea, he got shipwrecked at sea for like over a year with another guy, and he made it by like drinking rainwater and eating turtles and all kinds of crazy shit, but it's the nuttiest story. He's like on a raft for a fucking year. But his companion's family is now suing him because they say that he ate them.
Yeah,
He ate the other guy.
right. I
Is
heard
this the
about
Mexican guy? The
I
two
don't-
Mexican fishermen?
Are they
who-
Mexican? I don't know. I don't know if they're Mexican, but just the thought behind it. James, see if you can find a story. Just the thought behind it.
And
that-
being sued. That's what's funny. It's cannibalism.
Yeah.
It's not a criminal complaint. It's a civil suit.
I don't know what it is because I don't know if it's American. I don't know if they have a different legal system. I don't even know what it is, but I don't even know if they're suing or if they're trying to accuse him of
of
it
murdering him or
or
something.
eating him.
It's the eating that bothers
But
them.
if he's dead, eat him.
Well, that's what I say. Eat me if I die. But what they say is that this
Good
guy
T-shirt, by the way.
was claiming that he kept the dude on the boat with him for company for 6 days, then threw him overboard. Yeah, he's sued for $1 million for eating shipmate. But here's the thing: like, how they prove that he ate how do you even accuse a guy?
I think he talked about it.
He talked about eating
Yeah,
him?
because he's Salvadorian, but they were in Mexico and they got swept out. I've read about this one.
So he talked about eating the guy.
Yeah, so I think that's how they.
But that's in the story. It says that he just threw the guy overboard.
It seems like you would want your family member to have like given his life for somebody. It kind of makes your family member a hero.
Well, lots of cultures eat their dead. When someone dies, they eat them. Yeah, and it's an honor.
That is incredible. More than a year. Let's see. See if he admitted, Jamie. Find it. See if anywhere he admitted. He paid this guy to accompany him on a short fishing trip off the coast of Mexico. Wow.
Yeah, and he wrote a book, so they want the money from the book. That's what they're doing. That's what it's about.
You might be right.
Yeah,
Or he might have ate that dude.
There's a.
He looks like he did.
It looks like he'd eat a dude.
I used to think. I think most people think some cultures were just cannibals for the hell of it. Like they were just especially evil, like the Aztecs or whatever. And then others just weren't. But, if you think about it, it doesn't make sense. Like Europeans killed just as many people as the Aztecs did. They were just as ruthless. They're burning them at the stake, They even cook them, but they didn't eat them, right?
Right.
So then I read this guy, Marvin Harris, this anthropologist who wrote a book called Cannibals and Kings. He went back and looked at societies that were cannibalistic and those that weren't, especially in the South Pacific, because some islands were, some islands weren't, whatever, and in Latin America. And what he determined was that the societies that were cannibalistic had a lack of protein. There were no animals that could be domesticated. And so when they killed people in battle, they ate them because they were protein hungry or starved. But Europeans had plenty of domesticated animals, so they didn't need the protein because they had the goats and the pigs and whatever. But if you think about Mexico, there's nothing that they could domesticate except turkeys or dogs or animals that eat the same food as humans. So you need to domesticate an animal that doesn't eat what humans eat, so it's not competing, right? And there were none in North America, so that's why they were cannibals.
Wow. That's crazy. That's fascinating.
It's also important to note that one of the key tenets of Catholicism involves a kind of metaphysical cannibalism, which is, the communion.
The body of Christ.
The body of Christ. And they call that conversion of the wafer into the flesh of Christ. They have a name. They think that when the priest is doing the ritual, it's turning it into the flesh of Jesus.
Right, the transubstantiation.
That's what it is the name for it. And that's where you're shifting the wafer into the flesh of a God that you're eating.
That's totally real.
Well, it's totally real.
Totally real.
You can taste it.
But they get the right stuff if it's kosher.
Many of them do think that it is real.
I'm sure.
Like it's God flesh, which is actually a really old. That's a very old tradition, which is you eat a god, you eat the sacrifice god to get its energy or something.
Well, it had to have all originate within theogens. There's no doubt
that's
that all.
Immediately what I thought of is the Amanita muscaria, where the psychoactive component stays active after it's metabolized. So the piss of the shaman who's eaten Amanita muscaria will get you high as shit.
Yeah.
So they fed them piss.
Apparently Amanita muscaria is very hard to get right. I've never gotten high off of it. We tried it once, it didn't work. But then we tried psilocybin mushrooms with it, and we had a fucking insane journey. So they might have worked together in sort of synergistic way, but apparently by itself it's really hard, and they think that it might be like a geographical variant, and then also like seasonally, and then genetically. Like you have to get the right stuff, and the right stuff might not even exist in most places anymore.
Right. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? All the lost pharmacology, the stuff that we'll never even know about, like
Soma.
Yeah, what is it? Like what is this stuff? You hear about this all the time.
Yeah.
All of these old technologies that are just gone.
And the Eleusinian mysteries.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this until recently. The Champs-Élysées, or however you pronounce it, in Paris, that's the Eleusinian mushrooms.
Oh, wow.
That's what it translates as Eleusinian mushrooms. Champs, right? Champignons.
There's unquestionably, without a doubt, there were people that lived a long time ago that discovered psychedelic plants.
Yes, for
They
sure.
They had to have.
Yeah.
And all you have to just consider, I mean, this is the most rational way to look at it. If you lived at that time and you had no science, you had some myths and fables, and you had some rules to live by, and you found those things, you would think that you had found God. You would definitely think, if you just ate, you don't have a scale, you're just eating these mushrooms that you find, and you eat 10 grams of them, good Lord, you're gonna meet God. You like literally will be transported to God. And everybody, you know, people will listen to this kind of shit and they'll go, "Oh man, that's so stupid. You know, you're just tripping. You're just hallucinating." You got to take this into consideration. I know I've said it before, but it is important to repeat. When you have an experience, it doesn't matter if that experience is like you could put it on a scale or hit it with a stick. It's a real experience.
Right.
So even though no one's saying that you're meeting God when you do mushrooms. But what I am saying is it's the same thing as meeting God. Like the experience is so profound that it would be like doing that. It would be like having, when you do DMT, perfect example.
Yes.
It is like meeting the highest power around you. It's like meeting a God. It's like meeting a sea of gods. It feels like it.
There's a place where things can be both true and untrue, I think. You know, and what you're talking about is that overlap for me. It's where, you know, like placebo effect. You say, well, it's just a sugar pill. Yeah, it's just a sugar pill, but it has demonstrable, measurable, repeatable effects on people. Hypnosis is another one. Like, well, how the fuck does that work, right? Nobody's explained this. And I think when you're talking about seeing God, that is ultimately a subjective experience that happened or didn't. And if it did, then it did. And there's no one from outside who can say, "Oh, it's just bullshit," or that's, you know, some sort of Richard Dawkins denial of the sacred, because you experienced it. And so I'm sort of sympathetic. I mean, I trash religion as much as the next guy, but I'm sympathetic for the experience of someone who says, "Look, I go there, I have these rituals, I smell that stuff, I was raised in this tradition, and I am transported to another world that makes my life better." I can't say that's not real. Despite the bullshit of the Bible or whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. You know what I think is problematic is the label. Like even how I said it. Like, you'll meet God. Like that word is so loaded.
Right.
That's a big part of the problem. A big part of the problem with just the idea of religious ideas. Like, forget about the words that you're using, whether you're using the word prayer or scripture or, you know, whatever the name you have for your deity. Those are just noises you're making, and they correspond to like whatever the cultural context is of the Hindu god or the Christian god. But if you just think of the feeling of wanting to be a good Christian, right? The feeling of wanting to please God, not by blowing up abortion clinics or any of this, none of the wacky aspects of it that we sort of connect to it when we think about like radical, fundamental religion on any side of the fence, right? But the feeling that you're getting, like you're feeling, if you're all together in church and you really are praising his name, you really are praising the idea of this loving God that wants fellowship and wants camaraderie and brotherhood, like whatever that feeling is and whatever that thought is, take out all the words, Jesus Christ and his, you know, praise Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad and Allah, and take out all those words. And what is the feeling?
Right.
Like that feeling is the search for this positive source. Like this thing that ultimately we can all eventually reach if we put aside all of our ridiculous monkey behavior and greed and jealousy and anger and lust and just get to us at our very best. You know, and it's almost like it's like a guide to get you there. But we get tripped up on the words that are attached to the guide, like the word God or the word Muhammad or the word Allah or, you know,
Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna. Go down the line.
And the fucking parasites that latch on to this and you know, start selling shit and, you know, making a power structure around
changing
it, rules,
controlling people with it.
Duncan started off talking about how you can recognize someone not just as a spiritually enlightened person, but as just a person you want to hang out with if they are really hard to offend, if they have a good sense of humor. If they don't have a sense of humor, there's something wrong, you know. But you think about the Old Testament God. He's the most easily offended motherfucker imaginable. You know, like the book of Job. Have you ever read the book of Job? It's fucking amazing. Like Job is this, you know, great guy, does everything he's supposed to do, everything's cool, and the devil and God are hanging out one day, and the devil's like, the devil says, like, people don't really like you so much, man. You know, you think everybody loves you. And God's like, of course people love me. Look at Job. He's perfect. He does everything I tell him. And the devil's like, yeah, but he only does what you tell him because you've been good to him. Fuck with him a little bit and you'll see what happens. So God, being the fucked up asshole that he is apparently, killed Job's wife and kids.
But you know, that's not a. I mean, it's not meant to be taken literally, though. I mean, that's not a literal. That's a story of the fact that no
Word
matter.
of God, Duncan. Of course, it's to be taken
Dare
literally.
you question
What kind of truck driver, motherfucker?
This is how cocky Duncan is. Duncan is like, well, I think what Jesus really meant to say.
But you know,
I
if you
think
look
God
at,
wasn't so good with his
Right.
words back then.
That's right.
And since I've gone to college in Asheville, North Carolina,
He's got a PhD, I hear.
I've been talking to God. God gave me a PhD. But no, I think that you run into trouble if you start looking at mythology in like as though that's really what it means. Like it's actually
okay, but look at the God that's being depicted there. Whatever the story is, he's jealous, he's capricious, he's cruel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a fucking alcoholic father.
But so if you look at the universe, like right now at this moment, mothers are dying of cancer. Kids are getting exploded by bombs. All of it, dogs are attacking fucking old people in the park.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So this is the story of Job has always struck me more as a kind of like story of how, look, man, you can't understand the infinite. Like when I step on an ant, you know what I mean? To me, it's like, well, I stepped on an ant today. But for whatever that ant's tiny little subjective universe happens to be, I've completely obliterated it. I wiped it out. That ant could never possibly understand the interaction that just happened there, but it was a real interaction. So it seems like the story of Job is more like, what the fuck are you, universe, this incredible thing that I'm surrounded by that seems to very capriciously at random times just destroy people and lives. And like, shit, man, I just heard about this family driving under an underpass and like a concrete block fell out of a truck, landed on the goddamn Range Rover, bam, entire family zapped out of this universe. And to me, Job was that's what the story is like, how can someone be a servant of love, like what you were talking about? How can someone connect to this desire to like give love and happiness and joy into the universe when at any second, guaranteed for any human being, there could be and there will be a tragedy more devastating than anything you could ever imagine, because that's just the way the world works. You're gonna die, your wife, your family, your friends. This is the reality we're in. And how in that kind of swirling vortex of chaos and violence do you find a place where, regardless of all of that, you will still be committed as much as you can to do that thing you did on the road when the fucking car hit you. Instead of getting out and fucking pummeling the guy because your adrenaline's flowing, you ask, hey, are you all right? That's wild. I mean, to you, it might seem like not that big a deal, but if everyone on planet Earth started doing that, whoa, holy shit, it'd be a whole new... I
mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I think there's an underlying assertion of the cruelty of the universe that I think is distorted. Okay, I think that, you know, I was watching this nature program a couple of weeks ago, and there was a seal. I may have even talked with you about this last time I was on, but there was like a seal playing in the waves, and then you hear the like do 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 do, and you see the shadow coming up, and it's a great white, and it hits the seal, and then the narrator actually says we slowed this down to 1/40th of normal speed, right? And you see the teeth of and the seal's flopping around, and there's blood everywhere, and meanwhile the narrator's saying the struggle for survival is never over, and so I'm watching that and I'm thinking, Well, but seals seem kind of happy to me, right? Like, how come they're not more stressed out? Because all the seals I've seen were lying on rocks and chilling and barking and having fun. So I looked up this seal. It was a harbor seal, I think. They live to be about 30. So let's say this one's in its prime. It's 25, okay? Its whole fucking life, it's been lying on warm rocks and eating fresh fish. And then in half a second, it's dead, okay? And we're looking at that as evidence of the cruelty of nature? What's the ratio there? You know, what's the ratio of good days to bad days in that seal's life? It's pretty fucking good.
True.
And I read this amazing account of being pounced on by a lion by, I think it was, who searched for Livingston in Africa? I remember Dr. Livingston, I presume. Anyway, that guy, he got pounced on by a lion. And he talks about, he didn't describe it this way, but the endorphins that are released when you're dying, right?
Yeah.
Especially in prey animals. He was completely detached, completely relaxed, watching this lion tossing him around.
Yeah.
Well, they think there's an evolutionary advantage to both species, both the predator and the prey, in them having this endorphin release when they get got. Because when lions attack like antelopes or when big cats catch deer, the deer kind of give in, man.
Right.
They get jacked, they necks get, but they don't. They kind of like fight a little and then they kind of give in.
Right.
But like bears, like those kind of animals, they don't really give in like that. So they don't, like, if a cat and a mountain lion or a mountain lion rather and a bear go at it, like the bear isn't just going to give in to the mountain lion.
Right.
If the mountain lion bites the bear in its neck, the bear's going to try to turn and bite him back, and they're going to tooth and claw it out. They're not going to give.
I wonder if he would give in to a dinosaur.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Something where the
Crocodile.
power is overwhelming and you
Right.
feel it. Like I ain't getting out of this. I wonder if
Right.
that's what triggers the release.
That's a
That's
very good
it.
point.
That thing that you're talking about right there is the secret of happiness, which is that fucking release. Because if you really look at it, man, we are in the mouth of a super predator. It's the entire universe, and it's slowly killing us right now.
You're bumming me out.
Well,
Why
Does
does that bum you out? It's true. It's like, I mean, it does sound like dire, but on one level, it sounds dire. But then the idea is like you have to accept the situation that you're in. Yeah. And it is true. We are like being like, we're in the mouth of the most incredible, most powerful, most omnipresent thing ever. Earlier when you were talking about, you know, you smoke DMT, you have this experience of God. You see God, whatever it is. You see this incredible matrix of consciousness, or when you're on theoretically on ayahuasca. I haven't done it, or mushrooms. But the funny thing about it is, right now, minus the psychedelic, you are surrounded by an entire universe of which pieces of the universe are alive and aware of you and are talking to you.
The psychedelic sort of just force feeds you that reality.
Exactly. Or it paints it puts a different coat of paint on top of it. So now it seems unique or new.
Again.
It's novel again.
Yeah.
But you it's just another level of the same experience that's happening, which is that you are surrounded by a living, partially living universe that has as a tendency from time to time to produce life. This universe that we're in produces life, and you're part of it, and you're surrounded by an infinite ocean of that tendency. So that's very overwhelming, I think, for people, which is why they begin to accept, oh, this is just completely normal, this thing. And then that's when you take the psychedelic and you're like, holy shit, I saw God. It's like, no, you saw the exact same thing that you've been seeing. It's only that you saw it in a different form. For whatever reason, people don't want to accept this stuff that's happening around us right now as God. They don't want to accept it. They don't want to accept that what this thing is around us is supernatural. It's crazy, this thing.
Well, see, this is when Joe was talking earlier about foragers finding these substances. I was thinking this exactly what you're talking about, because we take those substances and it's like a revelation, right?
Yeah.
And the veil is pulled back. What is the veil? The veil is culture. We live in a culture that is constantly trying to put out the fire of mystery in us. That's constantly saying, no, life is about having this car, this kind of house, get a new air conditioner, go to work. Don't be looking for mystery. Just go to work and punch the fucking clock, all right? Go work in your mine or your cubicle or whatever. It's constantly trying to get us to accept this bum fucking deal. Right? Whereas foragers, they're surrounded by mystery every day. Every day. everything's alive. Everything is full of spirit. There's the spirit of the river, the spirit of the clouds, the spirit of the air. They're surrounded by spirits. So I wonder what their experience with psychedelics is like, because I don't think it has, I mean, I'm sure it heightens everything and is amazing and obviously has sacred value, but I don't think it has that same revelatory aspect. That,
it might be a different, even
us.
deeper revelatory thing, because they're not confined in the bullshit of like buildings and streets and traffic lights and taxes and all these things that we hold in the forefront of our mind, our consciousness, that are really just retarded. We've created these things. Most of the things that people come up with to occupy their mind during the day are things that we've come up with, that we've discovered or created and decided that they're significant, like taxes or jobs or social status, for breeding.
I think I think it gets back to Duncan's point. I think the whole thing is an edifice built to distract ourselves from our mortality. I think that's what civilization is.
It certainly could be, or it could be a mechanism for us to continue to create technology and innovate. Because the best way to do that is to not have a good perspective, not realize that if our perspective is really good and we realize that we're these temporary beings that just love each other and spend as much time together in camaraderie and in friendship as possible, we're not going to get shit done. We're all going to look at all the phones we have now and then go, we're good. We just keep using these phones and everyone's fine.
Yeah.
We look at our TVs and that is a very big TV. We're good. My computer is super fast. We're good. My internet seems fine. Let's just leave all this stuff alone and hang out.
Right.
Like,
you need the discontent to create the technology.
It
so
all
the question
works
is, whose interest is all this in? That because it's not in ours. Yeah, exactly. It's the superorganism.
Marshall McLuhan quote. Marshall McLuhan's
or the sex organs of the machine world.
That's my favorite quote ever.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things we've done by lighting everything up also is we've gotten rid of the psychedelic vision that is space. You no longer see space. Like, you have to, if you go on a trip to the desert and you go out to the desert and like the high desert and you look up at night, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
You get that majestic vision of the cosmos. We don't get it in LA anymore. It's gone.
Right.
It's gone. We smoked it out. We smoked it out with streetlights.
And you got tomatoes that'll look good for a long time but have no fucking flavor.
Yeah.
And roses that don't smell like roses.
They don't? What do they smell like?
They smell like nothing because they've got a breed that will last much longer, looking good, but it doesn't have the smell.
But you just spray perfume on them, bro.
That's what they do. Seriously, that's what they do.
Spray rose perfume on roses.
I went to dinner once. This French chick made me dinner. This beautiful, wonderful French woman, and but I didn't like anything she liked, so it was a difficult relationship. You know, like, she liked sailing. She had this little sailboat, and for me, sailing is like skin cancer. Guaranteed skin cancer. Like, I'm going to be
so pale.
Because I'm super pale. I'm out on the water, no shade. You know, we're waiting for wind. I'm dead. Anyway, so she made this dinner for me one night, and I went to her place, and everything was beautiful, and it was all set up with candles and nice silver. And it was escargot. I don't fucking eat escargot, man. I'm American. I don't eat snails. But I was going to go through it just because she went to all this trouble. 28. 29, something like that. And so she has this big pot of escargot, all these shells in the sauce, tomato sauce, and she puts it on. And so I pick up the first one and suck up the sauce, and there's no snail. And I'm like, lucked out. And then I pick up the next one, same thing. Again, no snail. And I'm looking at her across the table, and she's getting this weird look on her face. There were no snails. She'd bought the shells. They sell the snails separately.
Wow.
You have to put the snails back in the shells.
What?
I don't know. Something about you spraying perfume on roses with no smell reminded me of that story.
That is so ridiculous.
Yeah. So she made a big pot of snail shells.
So you guys just had snail shell soup. Tomato snail shell soup. That's hard to say. Snail shell soup.
Snail shell soup.
Yeah, my mouth doesn't want to say that for some reason.
Snail shell soup.
Snail shell soup. Snail shell soup.
Snail shell soup. Snail soup. Yeah, you're right.
It is bizarre that they would separate them. Why would you take the snails out and make people put them back in? Maybe to clean them?
Shipping, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's like a
packing.
cleanliness issue. But then you would know that they weren't fresh. Like the whole idea is that you want to catch them, and they do something to them though. That's something that there's a guy online who is a wild game cook, a famous wild game cook. He's been on Steve Rinella's television show. And one of the things that he does is he takes wild foods like mushrooms and stuff, and he incorporates them. Like if he eats like a deer, he cooks a deer meal. He'll use like a lot of the local ingredients, like local plants and local mushrooms and things like that. And he did that with some snails, and he had to purge them. So I guess you do something where you take them and you like leave them in water for a long period of time or something, like let them defecate and let them piss.
Oh, right.
I think that might be.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You don't want to eat snail piss.
No way.
Snail
No
shit.
way.
That's what you eat when you eat lobster, right? That whole line down the lobster
and shrimp.
snail. Yeah, shrimps.
Fucking
yeah.
gross. Yeah.
It's their poop line.
Although have we talked about fecal transplant? Have you guys talked about that?
We have, definitely.
I haven't stopped talking about it.
Since you had it. Huh?
It's pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
The idea that microbes from another person's poop can actually help your body.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, huh?
Yeah.
When being
amazing.
born vaginally, you get your mother's microbiome all over your skin and in your mouth and stuff from her
that makes
vaginal
sense.
secretions. So when kids are born C-section, they don't get that. They're much more likely to have asthma and all this stuff because so what you got to do, even if you have a C-section, is smear pussy juice all over the kid's face, literally.
I don't think you should say that, and we should probably edit that out.
That's just what the doctor ordered.
There are new rules in this society, and
Yeah.
you're not allowed to smear pussy juice
What'd
on
you
babies
start working?
anymore.
Did you start working for Subway?
At Harvard,
Chris Ryan?
that'll get you fired.
I think it was Yale, but yeah.
Oh, that's right.
We were
back to
talking
Yale.
before the podcast started about the social justice warrior placemats that Harvard had given to children to take home with them. And I say children because if your parents are paying for your education, you're a fucking child. You're still a child. I don't care what. I don't care if you're 18. I don't care if you can vote. I don't care if you can go to war. They sent these placemats home with these kids explaining how to talk to your parents if controversial issues come up, like if your parents exhibit xenophobia or sexism or
Right.
transphobia.
Right.
And so they literally they're giving them these placemats.
Can we
for
see
how to
them?
behave. Yeah, we'll pull it up. Harvard just apologized for it today.
For the placemats?
Yeah, well, some intelligent people apparently got a hold of them. What the fuck are you doing? Are you teaching people how to be only liberal, progressive thinkers? Like think only the way you guys want them to think? Are they allowed to have a nuanced opinion on subjects that are controversial? Like there's some things you're not allowed to have a nuanced opinion about. You're not even allowed to debate it. And that was what happened at Yale when they were talking about offensive Halloween costumes. Here it is. The Yale Student Active Tips for Talking to Family Members. Oh my God, this is hilarious.
Listen mindfully before formulating. Breathe.
A thoughtful response.
Ask
Breathe.
questions when people express strong opinions.
Affirm.
Clarify the difference between the good intentions and the impact.
Speak.
Speak from a place of mutual interest, sharing personal experiences and emotions.
Oh my God. And they talk about black murders in the streets. Why don't they just listen to the officer? If they just had obeyed the law, this wouldn't have happened. Response. I mean, come on, look at this. This is hilarious. Do you think the response would be the same if it was a white person being pulled over? Like, look at what they're doing here. They're teaching people how to talk to their parents about controversial social issues like Islamophobia. Oh my God.
What does this say? We shouldn't let anyone in the U.S. from Syria. We can't guarantee that terrorists won't infiltrate there. This is like the worst fucking Christmas dinner ever. This is like such a horrible. This is not the Christmas dinner. This is a fucking O'Reilly factor. The U.S. has been accepting refugees from the war-torn areas around the world for decades. Remember the wars in Central America? They were extremely violent. The U.S. accepted refugees. All right, whatever. It's just boring.
Look at this Yale student activism one. Why are the black students complaining? Shouldn't they be happy to be in college? Response. When I hear students expressing their experiences of racism on campus, I don't hear complaining. Instead, I hear young people uplifting a situation that I may not
You know what my dad starts
experience?
doing at this point? When I'm reading this, my dad will start going, "Bah!"
If you're non-black,
All right.
Hey, by the way, uplifting is not a fucking verb.
Yeah.
Yale.
No.
Could somebody tell these
Harvard.
fancy boys?
Son, you need to
What?
get a
It
different
says
drug
Yale
dealer.
student.
But it's about
active.
Yale. But there's a Harvard placemat. It's about the Yale student
Oh,
protests.
I see.
But listen to this. If non-black students get the privilege of a safe environment, I believe that same privilege should be given to all students. Like, you just said nothing. That is a nonsense statement.
Yeah.
You don't hear them complaining when they're complaining? Well, that's bizarre. If people are complaining, they're definitely complaining.
And
they
there's
might
nothing,
have a very good point.
Exactly. There's nothing negative about
No,
complaining.
they might have a very good point. If you don't hear complaining, then you're not paying attention.
I
Or
agree
you're
with the
being a
black
nut.
murder section, though. That seems pretty logical. The
Why
response.
don't you read it?
Do you think the response would be the same if there was a white person being pulled over? In many incidents that result in the death of a black body in the street, these victims are not breaking the law and are unarmed with Tamir. This all seems right on. He was a 12-year-old boy playing in the park. When the officers pulled up, they gave no verbal commands and shot within 2 seconds of arriving at the scene. He was not breaking any laws. You know, it's just because I just watched, someone made a YouTube montage of cops shooting people.
Oh, it's insane.
You've seen that?
Yeah,
It's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, my Christ, man, if I was black and got pulled over by a cop, I'd be shitting myself.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just shoot.
Not only that, you're dealing with someone who is encountering bad people all day. Most of the people that cops encounter all day are breaking the law. Most of the people, they're either pulling them over for going too fast, or they're doing something stupid, or
Yeah.
they're trying to steal something, or they're trying to rob somebody, or they're showing up at a scene after someone's done something fucked up.
Yeah.
So just think about the stress that a normal person's under, and multiply that times 100. You get paid like 40 grand a year. People want to shoot at you. You're wearing a goddamn bulletproof vest, and you're going to someone's car, and it's a young black guy, and he has his rap music is loud. He's not even turning it down. You're like, God damn it, is today the day I get shot and killed?
Right.
Is today the day I die?
And
Do I
let's not forget that a lot of these dudes are coming back from wars. A lot of them have PTSD, and they were trained where they were an occupying force. So they take that training and they apply it to joining the police force, and the population is the enemy. Everyone is a potential,
It's a very good
suicide
point.
vest.
I got in a conversation with my Uber driver, this black dude, and he was like talking about getting pulled over recently. And I told him, man, I haven't been pulled over in like, I don't know, 9 years. And he's like, what? Really?
I'm white, LOL.
Yeah. He gets pulled over all the time, you know, and so like that's fucked up, man. Like
Yeah.
that's like that to live in that kind of world where you realize that you just have to accept getting pulled over, and you have to accept the fact that there's like some chance if you make the wrong move, or if the cop snaps for whatever reason,
Right.
you're dead.
It happens all the time. There was
Yeah.
that one where the cops pulled that guy over, and there's a video of him, the completely different interaction than the cop described. The guy pulls his gun
Yeah.
out, he just shoots the guy in his fucking car.
Yeah.
No one's in trouble. No
Terrible.
one's scared. No one's in danger.
Terrible.
There's people just shouldn't be cops. There's definitely people that shouldn't be cops. I think most people. How about that?
And what about these cases where they like SWAT right into someone's house in the middle of the night and shoot them in bed, and then it's like, oh, wrong house.
Yeah.
Or they
Shoot
shoot
the
their
dog.
dog.
Shoot the
Always
dog.
shooting the
Oh, they
dogs.
love shooting the dogs.
Yeah.
And taking the property. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
This country, they're motivated. What's the word?
Yeah.
I'm looking for?
Motivated.
Yeah, there's a word there. Incentivized. is the word. To get into shit, to get into trouble, find trouble, because they get the house, they get the car.
Well, do you know in 2015, cops
Yep.
took more property than burglars did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that.
What?
Think about that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. And that goes right into the local police department's budget.
Yeah. And some
It
of
doesn't
them,
even go to Washington,
But they bought margarita machines in North Carolina. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
What the fuck, man? They would pull people over, and if you have money, they just take it.
That's
And they just say,
nuts.
well, you have to figure out a way to prove to us that this money was made by
Right.
legal. The asset
Look at
forfeiture
that.
surpassed burglaries for the first time ever.
That's crazy.
And
Oh
that's
my
an
God.
important point. You don't
Look at the
even have
number.
to be charged with the crime. They can just say, "What are you doing walking around with 10 grand in cash?"
And you have to
That's
prove.
ours. You got to prove.
And also think about how much of this is related to drugs. Like think of
Yeah.
that. And then so when you realize the asset forfeiture is actually happening for something that shouldn't be illegal anyway. Like, do you watch? Have you watched? It's called like Drunk Tank. Have you seen this show where like it's like I don't know. It's a show where after someone gets pulled over for a DUI, they get thrown in the drunk tank and. Man, there is to me nothing more vile than seeing a cop smugly like searching a person and pulling marijuana out of his pocket and being like, well, what do we have here? Marijuana. Look at this. That's going to be something that history is going to judge in the most intense way. Every single cop that's been on a reality show, smugly taking someone's weed for them, putting handcuffs on them because they had weed, for eternity, they're going to be looked back on in a really fucking awful way. They're going to want to scrub the internet from that footage because they're enforcing a law that, I mean, we all know, I'm preaching the fucking choir here, but there's something so foul about it, that smugness, you know? It's so disgusting. For nothing. For literally nothing.
For literally nothing. Yeah. Well, not less than nothing. Something they enjoy. It's not just for nothing. It's more disgusting than that because it's positive. It's beneficial. It enhances their life. It makes food taste better.
Right. Well, that gets us back to the seeing God in a mushroom, right?
Yeah.
Every culture that's ever had access to hallucinogens has seen them as the greatest gift of the gods, right? The most sacred, the most beautiful gift they've been given. In our country, in the United States, you go to prison for longer under minimum mandatory for having
LSD, 5 years.
Yeah, right, LSD, than for second-degree murder. Think about that.
That's insane.
So it's not only wasteful and weird and awkward. It's that, and to me that ties into my argument that we live in a culture that it sets out to deny mystery.
This is where I differ from you. I don't know if the culture sets out to deny it or if all these things are kind of in place and they all benefit each other, and the overall result is that the culture denies its reality. I don't necessarily think there's any design involved.
No. Well, see, this is a design versus evolution. I agree with you. I think it's a system that replicates itself and supports itself and spins out sub-mechanisms that support the central mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Henry Kissinger's behind it all.
No, I know you don't. But, I mean, I don't think there's anyone that doesn't want us to be aware of our. I just don't think anybody's paying attention.
The entire advertising industry doesn't want us to know the reality of what they're selling.
They're not even. Oh, that's different. Yeah. Okay.
They're trying. There's a whole. Edward Bernays, right? The great. The guy who founded advertising essentially, and also worked for the CIA. Also came up with the "we're defending freedom abroad" justification for American military adventures. I mean, he was central, and he very clearly said, like, we need to create reality for people.
That's
because
right.
if they are allowed to create their own reality, they won't buy stuff, they won't do what we need them to do, they won't vote for who we need them to vote for. So there's an elite that has to create reality for the masses.
And it's logical. If we got assigned to, and we were assholes, and we got assigned to some massive group of people that we needed to control, and we needed them to think that we were in charge. That was the first thing. You would have certain rules that they had to abide by. And the first rule would be, don't let them take psychedelics, man. Because if they start fucking tripping, they're going to realize we're just three dudes just like them. And they're not going to listen to us anymore, which is why I think there is a 5-year mandatory minimum when it comes to LSD. Because when you take LSD, the entire thing seems absolutely absurd. From money to the government to jobs, it all seems like a ridiculous thing that everyone else seems to have accepted as like, yeah, this is just how you do shit.
Right, but question, the people that are enforcing the laws are not the people that created those laws, and the people that are enforcing the laws most certainly have not experienced these things.
Right. That's why we need to get cops tripping.
Yeah, but you're right. I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a certain momentum that these laws and that this propaganda has sort of set in motion that's going to be really hard to slow down and stop, and we're starting to do that with pot. Like the availability and the relaxation, the way people view pot in 2015 is way different than 2005.
Well, we're doing it with hallucinogens too. I mean, there's proved research going on. There's fantastic clinical application. And
the old guard has to die.
Well, yeah, that's
what a lot of
how
it
it works. Yeah,
the people that started those laws, the fucking Joe Fridays, the Dragnet guys, like those guys are dead. So like the people that like started this whole the sweeping Psychedelic Legislation Act of 1970, I believe it was, when they made everything Schedule 1.
Nixon.
Right.
Yeah, they just were just trying to batten down the hatches. We got to stop these fucking hippies. Like everything was crazy. The response to the Vietnam War, everybody wanted to get out. There was like this culture explosion that was going on. They were trying to throw wet blankets on. They were
That's
trying to
right.
figure out how to do it. But those people that did that, they're all dead. So these new sort of DEA people and drug enforcement officers, they're operating under this assumption that what they're doing is in some way good.
Right.
Because
Right.
it's been in place for a long time, and this is just how it is. And look, there's a reason why heroin's illegal, son. There's a reason why cocaine's illegal, son. What marijuana's going to rot your brain, son. Like,
Yeah.
do
Right.
you do marijuana? Like, why are mushrooms illegal? Have you done mushrooms? If you've done mushrooms and you think they're illegal, something went wrong. Something went wrong. Either you tried to fight it and the trip took you sideways, or you didn't get enough of it, or you did it with assholes.
Well, but have you heard of the there's a thing, you probably know, there's a name for it, when somebody gets invested into a religion or a cult. You get into a cult, and after you've invested yourself for a certain amount of time, when you get really like sucked into the cult, just the fact that you've been in it for 4, 5, 10, 15 years is enough to keep you in it, even though you know it's complete bullshit. So you stay in it only because like you've invested too much energy.
Like when they predict the apocalypse and then it doesn't happen,
Yeah.
and those people just like, well, that doesn't shake their belief
They
at all.
just stick to it because their
rolling.
ego is completely committed to it. Imagine if, like, your entire life, you had been enforcing legislation that was completely absurd, that wasn't based on anything that in reality, that in fact, for your entire life, you were enforcing legislation that was in some way dampening or pushing your society back, pushing back the evolution of your culture, and you have to come to terms with the fact that you did that. You are an agent of the state, and you enforced laws that shouldn't have been there at all. Man, that's a fucking tough pill to swallow. The fact that you may have killed some people, there's people out there who have put bullets in people just for growing marijuana, something out of the ground.
Well, or for being an Afghani adolescent. I mean, think about all the soldiers. That's what the PTSD is all about, right? They're coming
Right.
back and they're like, what the I interviewed 3 vets on my show. I did sort of a series of vet interviews.
Tangentially speaking, available on iTunes.
Thank you, Joe. And yeah, that's some of the stuff that comes up. It's like you fucking shoot people because you're there, and that's what you
Yeah.
do. And they moved, and they had whatever. It's fucking.
You got to come to terms with it, They just
Yeah.
have to come to terms with it, but you have to come to terms with it because it's cowardly to continue to fucking enforce a goddamn thing, even though you know that it's no longer relevant. There's no need to do it. There never was a need to do it. You just have to take the bitter pill and go through a few fucking days of feeling guilty, and understand that what you did was wrong.
It's a real easy thing to say, but the problem is until the laws get changed, it's not going to seem real to people that are still caught up in the haze of culture.
Right.
Because culture has kind of a haze. Like you get sucked into it and you're in it, and that's why people do different things in different places, and it seems normal to them. And then we see it. What? They eat with sticks?
Right.
What, are they fucking crazy?
Right.
Don't they know about spoons? It's like culture becomes the norm. It becomes what you accept. And right now, our culture accepts the fact that you get locked up for drugs. And you don't want your kids to be a druggie. You don't want your kid to be a loser. If they become potheads, they become lazy. We have these thoughts that were really all the seeds were started in the 1930s with all those crazy Reefer Madness movies. I mean, it's the same stuff. It just has gotten less and less ridiculous. But no one even to this day, if you talk about getting high, you talk about smoking pot, the vast majority of people look at it the same way as if you say, I got fucked up. We went and drank, and I got hammered. I was so blasted. But there's a very big difference in what it's doing to your body. Like one of them is closing off awareness. One of them is opening up awareness. And we're putting them in the same category. And this is not a knock on alcohol. I'm a fan of alcohol. I enjoy it. But it's a completely different experience. But when you explain it to people, they'll look at you the same way. You guys got stoned, huh? You fucking crazy kids. Meanwhile, you got stoned and might have realized exactly what was wrong in your relationship and tried to fix your life and wrote something down. It's going to be like the new chart, the new path of your destiny. or you got drunk and shit in your neighbor's lawn because you thought it would be cute, and fucked his cat.
It is cute.
Put it on YouTube.
But we're talking.
Was that cat fucking line a dig at me, man?
No, man. I'm not that guy.
We promised we weren't going to talk about that.
That thing you're talking about, man, that thing where you're like, well, guess you're high right now.
Yeah.
That's deep North Korean level conditioning. That's what, it's no different than people in North Korea praying to dear leader. It's when you have been, depending on how old you are, you have been in a war, the war on drugs. It's a real war. It's a war where people have been killed and imprisoned. And as part of all wars, propaganda. You have to have propaganda and money. But you have been conditioned by some very intense brainwashing that was created by the CIA to try to control your mind. And so you have been infected with propaganda if you think that drugs should be illegal. You are a victim of the drug war. And another fucking casualty of the drug war? Truth, man. I was thinking like how much I lied to my mom. I was in high school taking LSD, having these powerful, life-changing experiences, beautiful experiences where I was realizing so much about society and myself and a lot of shit I didn't understand. And I would have loved to have talked to my mom about it, but I couldn't talk to my mom about it because if my mom found out I was doing fucking LSD, she would freak out. And parents, they go through their kids' drawers. They become agents of the state. They're digging through their kids' drawers to try to find a substance that has been on the planet for a very long time, marijuana, or a substance like LSD that is profoundly beneficial to a person who takes it in the right way. And they've become agents of the state. And they're forcing this in their house, in the home, which should be a place of absolute truth and trust and acceptance and growth. It's been transformed into this kind of weird gulag. It's been turned into this bizarre prison place where the parents somehow have got to enforce these absolutely arbitrary laws, and that I don't think that anyone is ever going to be able to calculate how much damage that has done to society, that we have placed our teens into a position where they have to fucking lie to their parents about having the most profound experience accessible via chemicals.
But there's
on
a lot of
planet Earth.
people that think that you shouldn't fuck with any entheogens, any psychedelics while you have a young developing mind.
Well, I'm not one of them. I mean, I can't. I can't be. I did it through all through high school, and I absolutely am so grateful to that. I'm so grateful for the information stream because I didn't have the internet, man. And like, my encounter with what LSD was through pure government propaganda. Like it was like finding books where it talks about Timothy Leary as an insane lunatic who lost his mind. That paints a picture of people who are advocates of the psychedelic experience as being some kind of evil, drug-addled lunatics, as opposed to being what they really are, which is rebels and heroes in a completely insane war that has destroyed countless lives. So I wasn't able to like go on the internet and look this shit up and find out that indeed this experience that I'm having, which appears to be beneficial, is truly beneficial to a great many people. All I had was bullshit like you're gonna, if you take 5 hits of acid, you're legally insane.
Yeah, that's
what people
one that
used
people
to say.
always say.
Yeah, or the old classic.
I made sure to take 5, so I'm covered. If I do something
good,
That's
I'm
right.
covered. I can verify
I'm
it.
insane.
I've lost my mind.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk like from the 1940s from now on. Why, I'm insane,
I'm
Duncan.
insane.
Say, what do you mean by this beneficial experience?
Well, it's sad, it really is. And what's really sad about it is like other wars, the casualties, we build walls with names on them in other wars. But in this particular war, so many people who are just farmers and alchemists are laying in their graves, and nobody realizes that these were heroes. These were people who were, in the face of insanity, making the decision that regardless of what the state was telling them to do, they were going to follow their hearts. And a lot of them went to jail for it. A lot of them are in jail for
They're
it.
political prisoners.
That's
is what
the
they
word.
Are.
That's it.
Yeah.
This is very strange how hard it is for us to break momentum of habit. And that's part of what's going on. Is there's a momentum of habit that looks at all these things as being negative.
Well, and there's a governmental system that's supremely unresponsive to new ideas, right? Because of the way Congress is set up.
But one of the things that's changing then, I think, is what's happening in Colorado with the tax revenue.
Yeah, and Oregon.
Yeah, and Oregon. But Colorado has a longer history of it. Right now, they've made more money for the first time ever from marijuana in taxes than they do alcohol.
Right, and crime goes down.
Yeah, crime went down, drunk driving went down. Crime went down to record levels.
Yeah.
Drunk driving went, real estate went up 19%.
Prescription overdoses down. Because people are using marijuana for pain control.
And tourism up. Hot girls moving in. Party time.
All up.
There's negatives too. Hippies, freaks. A lot of lazy bitches moving in too. A lot
Speaking
of people
of hippies,
attracted, like metal filings.
I slept in Terrence McKenna's bed the other night.
Whoa. Wow. Did you jerk off in it?
I felt it. No.
Should have.
No, it was beautiful. It's beautiful.
Where is Terrence McKenna's bed?
Well, it's a bed he slept in often in Mill Valley.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I always wanted to buy his house on the Big Island, but it burnt down. Burnt down with like thousands of books.
Yeah.
How the fuck does a house burn in Hawaii?
I don't know,
in
man.
a rainforest. He lived in a rainforest in
Maybe
Hawaii.
there's a volcanic eruption.
Yeah, it's called Girlfriend with Kerosene.
Do you think that's
left me, you fuck?
Do you guys know I'm nominated for a porn award? Did I tell you that?
A porn award?
Yeah, an AVN award.
Wow, okay. Is that good?
Yeah. Best non-sex scene in a movie.
What movie was this?
It's called Marriage 2.0. And I'm up against Ron Jeremy, Dick Chibbles. Yeah. Duncan has nothing to say, Duncan.
Oh, what about your congratulations? Forgive
That's
me.
amazing. I hope you win.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I was going to ask if you guys would go to Vegas and accept it on my behalf.
Send Red Band. He'll be there anyway. Get it for us. Yeah, those things just seem like it's too much sadness for a guy with daughters.
Yeah.
Head to the AVN Awards, just
definitely.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a party. Brian says it's all like cam girls now. That's like the majority of what it is.
I think I just read about this documentary about the shift in pornography, the way that pornography's that industry is kind of disintegrating because of the internet.
It's all free.
One of the many fucking internet is disrupting everything, man, isn't it? From porn to taxi cabs to everything is getting reconfigured by it. It's so fascinating.
It's unbelievable. It's a very weird time. Not just taxi cabs. I told you rental cars. The Skirt rental car company, they just drop your rental car off and then they pick it up later. Like they bring it to you. It's sort of like Uber for rental cars.
If they could just get a sofa in there, we'd be in Duncan's future.
It will.
You need
They'll
a
have
sofa.
Some sort of a pod.
I always thought they should make cars with cameras, right? And so you actually sit backwards in the car and look at a screen that's projected of what's in front of you, and you drive backwards. Because you think about it, if you're in a collision, you're good if you're driving backwards.
Not really. You're fucked. If you're going to get crushed, you're going to get crushed. And it's not good to not know when you're impacting.
Well, you would know. Because as far as it's like a virtual, it's as if you're looking out the windshield, but you're actually shifted backwards, and it's cameras projecting on the back
it's
screen.
hurting my brain thinking
you
about
probably
that.
throw up constantly. Like, why am I going the wrong
The
way?
sensation would be weird. That's true. That's true.
You have massive car sickness. I just feel like you wouldn't want to see the car like coming at you, rear-ending you. Ah! I don't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't because it'd be closed.
Man, did you see that the video of Elon Musk finally landing the rocket?
Yeah,
I heard. I didn't
That's
see
fucking cool, man.
That's great.
Oh yeah, it's badass. It's just like straight out of like old 50s sci-fi. It's like exactly the same thing. He did it. He landed a rocket.
Yeah.
And that guy, I heard that he is part of a. Him and some other people have. Said that they're going to give $1 billion to create a new artificial intelligence research center or something.
Because they're terrified. Elon Musk and the guy in England, Stephen Hawking. You know, they're
I like how you want like the other guy. There's this little weird shaky movement.
That's
you know,
the
that guy.
universal
And I knew who you were
sign
talking about. That guy that's oh yeah, he's fucked. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, they're terrified of it.
they're really.
How do you
sounding
feel
the
about it?
alarm. about artificial intelligence
Duncan
and the
sucked in
idea.
his artificial intelligence right now.
Sorry.
You can't help
Yeah.
yourself.
That's very rude.
You went right to the phone.
Sorry.
Hey, you
Funny,
talk right
just
now.
mention
I'm gonna
it.
check my texts.
That is exactly what I did.
Hey, give me your thoughts on this.
I did that. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
That's
That's
100%
funny.
what I did.
Joe's busted both of us. Like my impression of a.
But you can't help it though.
yeah.
The fucking things are heroin. They pull you.
Yeah, they
pull
get you.
Yeah.
You just want to check. Maybe the next tweet is going to be amazing.
Dude.
Someone's going to send me the coolest
Yeah,
article
it'll
ever.
change my life.
Well,
I'm
that-
going to read it and I'm just going to learn.
But do you read articles? I
Yeah.
find I store them. I'm like a fucking squirrel in October, man. I got so many tabs open and so many things in Evernote to read later. I'll never read all this stuff,
really?
but I've got this acquisitive thing like, oh, that'll be interesting. I'll save that. That'll go there and that, and it's just a mess. It's a massive. I'm like a hoarder. I'm an intellectual hoarder.
It's a mess, man. I try to practice mindfulness when I'm going through my phone, so I kind of watch myself as I'm doing it, because I know I'm addicted, and I can see what I'm in as a really awful pattern. And it's like you, when you go through it and you analyze like what's happening, you see that it is a form of drug. You see that you are getting like little hits off of it. You are getting like weird little like moments of like strange information intoxication. Like you get these little like upticks. Like when you find a particularly like, oh shit, a fucking Vice documentary on the liberation of the city in Iraq. Whoa, there's a cat eating a fucking man's leg. Holy shit. Uptick, uptick, uptick. You're getting these like weird little hits, and it's kind of cool. And it keeps you like stuck in a cycle. But that pull you're talking about, man, I had this like awesome goth friend who was into like I can't remember if it's there's a differentiation between death metal and black metal, and I always get in trouble for mixing them up, but like he was like explaining to me about Vlad Vignes Burzum. I always get in trouble. I get the whole story mixed up, but basically he was explaining how these guys are like actually burning down churches, and they were really hardcore, man. So he plays this Burzum, this death metal for me. He's like, listen, I was super stoned. He's like, listen. And I'm listening to it. He's like, do you feel the pull? And it's like, shit, man, I do a little bit. I know what you're talking about. It's got a weird, dark little gravity to it that if I allowed it to, I could see how I would start getting more and more and more into it. It's the same with these fucking phones, man. They have a true, weird, magnetic, subjective magnetism where you always feel, it's almost a physical feeling, man. Like you almost feel it pulling your attention towards it. They're like black holes for attention.
Well, it's interactive. That's the big factor. The big factor is it's interactive. You click on things. You can make things happen. You can open things. You can look at pictures. It's one of the things that people like about Instagram. You're clicking on it and you go, oh, look at that picture. Look at this picture. Oh, I'm going to comment. And you're interacting.
Yeah.
And that interacting is like some bizarre introduction to a new type of society.
Yeah.
These are the first steps. These social media steps, these are the first steps. This new type of integrated communication that we're experiencing.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about with the city separates us from the realization that we are just temporary beings collecting things needlessly because we're only going to be here for a short amount of time, but yet we spend all of our focus trying to accumulate the largest pile of shit before we die.
Yeah.
That's sort of the same thing as going on with phones. It's the same thing that's going on with everything. It's like it's slowly like pulling us into its trance, and the more we feed into it, the more we work hard, the more they'll make more of these, the more they'll make better ones of these, the more these things will deeper and deeper integrate themselves into your life until the point where they're symbiotic, until the point where that new Google contact lens, have you seen that shit?
No.
Google's coming out with a contact lens.
I knew it would happen.
They've got a goddamn contact lens. It's going to be Google Glass, the contact lens.
No fucking way,
It's going to be
man.
able to tell your blood sugar if you're a
Thank
diabetic.
God.
It's gonna be able to
it's not
read.
projecting
no,
shit.
No, it does. It's doing everything.
Oh, you can see shit on it?
It's going to do everything. It's going to do
So you
everything.
can have like porn going in your left
Yep.
eye 24/7?
navigation in your right eye, porn in your left eye.
Look into my eyes.
The worst.
Well, I mean,
Can people see it? Can people see
right.
like
Are you
fucking
watching
happening
people
in your
fucking?
left
There's
eye?
black dicks in your eyes.
Tiny little.
And I think
Wow.
it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before they create eyes that are better than these eyes.
For sure.
These eyes that we have, that I need reading glasses now to read things that are fine print. I can't read a book anymore. I have to have a pair of glasses. I'm reading a book about how to strengthen your eyes. when I wear reading glasses when I read the book. It's hilarious.
And you know, the myopia is like out of control, and they say it's because kids are indoors all the time
I think it probably has a
and
lot
looking
to do
at
with it.
screens.
There's a woman named Katie Bowman was on the show, and one of the ways she described it as a cast. She said if you're always looking at something that's the same, it was Katie Bowman, right? They brought this up, pretty sure. She was saying if you're always looking at a certain distance, a certain space, then that becomes like a cast. So if you put your arm in a cast and the muscle atrophies, but when you're outside, like a normal person is, you're looking at things that are close, you're looking at things that are far away, and it doesn't distort your lens.
Right.
When you're staring at a screen all the time, which I am, all the time, either doing the podcast or going online or whatever, that fucks with your eyes.
Yeah.
That's why, people who would read all the time would get glasses, and people would correlate it like, oh, he fucked up his eyes from reading. Like, we
Right.
would always say that.
Yeah.
But then they would say, oh, that's bullshit. But
In
no, it's
dim
not.
light or
It's
something.
not bullshit.
Yeah.
If you read enough, you're looking at that space as right in front of you only. You're
Yeah.
looking at something really close up, and it fucks with your eyes.
Right. Yeah, and also masturbation makes you go blind. too.
No.
That's true, right?
Not if you use your left hand. That you just need balance. It's
Yeah.
all about balance.
You need balance.
But this is this thing you're talking about. Aren't they finding out that there's actually something about the energy being radiated from the things at night, like it fucks with your sleep cycle too? Like,
Oh yeah,
if
the
you
blue
want-
the blue wavelengths.
That's what
so
it's called.
get f.lux Lux. It's great. In
What
fact,
is
I
it?
just interviewed a sleep scientist 2 days ago in San Francisco. Really interesting guy, does research at Stanford, Dan Pardee. And we were talking about that. It's the blue end of the wavelength, which is what you get from sunlight, affects the centers of your brain that sort of tell you what time it is in your circadian rhythm and all that. So as you get toward evening, you want the light to glow more and more gold, yellow, and eliminate the blue. So this app just automatically filters your screen based upon where you are and what time it is.
How
and
bizarre.
it's good. It helps with the sleep, because if you're looking at blue light right before you go to bed, your brain thinks you're in the midday. You know,
That makes sense.
Okay,
So,
that
They
makes
have a new
sense.
plane that they're doing. They're creating this new plane. They're going to make it out of carbon fiber, and they're going to adjust the light in the plane to match the light in the area you're going, so that your circadian rhythms don't get interrupted.
no windows.
Yeah, and apparently in doing this, somehow or another, they're going to eliminate the type of jet lag that a lot of people suffer from.
Yeah, because by the time you arrive, you're already calibrated to that. Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck they're doing that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I've seen
16-hour flights,
I've seen this. I heard about this new kind of light that they have that you can put in basements that somehow perfectly replicates sunlight, so that it's I don't know. It's amazing, but
So
it's
you can
super
grow
expensive.
weed?
Well, no, it's not.
I've heard of those too.
There's this thing, man. It's called hydroponics. Have you heard of it? I guess everybody's just growing tomatoes. You fucking go down Ventura Boulevard, and there's like 15 different stores selling you indoor tomato growing supplies. Like,
Yeah.
fuck
It's a
off.
lot
yeah.
of tomatoes.
I remember when I used to just think that's what it was. Like, shit, yeah, there's a lot of indoor farmers.
Yeah, another heirloom specialist.
Well, did you hear about the former FBI agents whose house got broken down? They broke down the door. DEA agents, I think they shot their dog. I don't know. They love to shoot
They
dogs.
have to. It's in the Constitution.
Arrested them, and then found out that they were just really growing tomatoes. They literally were growing tomatoes. So these people were former agents.
Wow.
These guys were
no.
retired agents. They're trying to grow some vegetables,
Right.
make a nice salad, and they got a fucking gun to their back.
Yeah.
That's karma.
There's some karma.
There's some
yeah.
karma in that.
I guess so.
Well, at least, if not karma, there's a recognition of the system that you participated in for
Right.
most of your adult life.
Right.
There's your career. Here's what you did. You fed this machine, a machine that's looking for too much electricity being used in your basement, which could be indicative of plant growth. You have plant growth in your house? Well, you fucker, you're probably a criminal. Time to kick your door in with guns.
Think about that.
Boom, boom,
God
boom.
damn it. We talk about this all the time, but if you really let yourself accept the fact that right now at this moment, flying over neighborhoods are high-tech helicopters scanning their radiation
yeah.
from the houses to find out if inside they're growing plants that aren't accepted by the state. That's really weird, man.
That's why I'm leaving. I'm going back to Spain where they don't do that shit.
They don't do that there.
They don't
do
do it in
that.
Portland either, though, dude. You can stay in Portland. They don't have the resources. Go to Eugene. They can definitely not do it
I
there.
like Eugene. Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
But have you seen the new radar that they have now, where they can
No.
look deep in, or X-ray? They look deep into your house. They can look into your house and see your silhouettes so they can watch people fuck.
Wow.
Like they could look through this screen and literally see you inside your house, blinds drawn, banging your wife on the bed.
But who wants to see two skeletons fucking?
I do.
Really?
I
Really?
love it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Man, I don't think it's I think it's like I think you could see images. Like you could see the outside of the body as well. It's not just as simple as like you see the skeleton.
Well,
only.
eventually you'll see. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to interpolate whatever data they're gathering and turn it into something that isn't shadows. It's just a matter of time. And it's a matter of time. Any technology that is being controlled by the state because it's too expensive for normal people to obtain, eventually, more than likely, will become less and less expensive, and everyone will have it. So if right now there's some insane technology that people are using to look through walls and see shadows fuck, then it's 10, 15 years before it's going to be something that you could just order or something that you can download on your super sophisticated
Like
phone.
drones for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like now drones
NYPD
are,
is using mobile X-ray vans to spy on unknown targets. Wow.
Yeah, a friend of mine
They're
used to
using it
work for
already.
the company who makes those. And what they were doing was they were scanning container ships coming in and out of the country, or coming into the country, so they could look for drugs without opening up the containers.
Look what this says.
Wow.
Stop right there for a second. New York City won't reveal how often cops bombard places, vehicles, or people with radiation, or if there are health risks for residents. They won't reveal it. Like, they don't talk about
The
it.
technology was used in Afghanistan before being loosed on U.S. streets.
Oh, my
Each
God.
X-ray van costs an estimated $729,000.
To $825,000. That's a big fucking difference.
I will not talk about anything at all about this, New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton told a
Even
journalist.
though you paid for it.
Wow.
Yeah, how's that
It
for a
falls
fuck
into the
you?
range of security and counterterrorism activity that we engage in. Wow.
He added they're not used to scan people for weapons.
But you know what's hilarious? They've used the terrorist acts, like various terrorist acts all across the world, to catch people selling drugs, because you can sell drugs as an act of terror. That falls under, like,
Sure,
you know,
financing.
they just passed some new Patriot Act. You know that, right? Do you know
Yeah.
the new Patriot Act that was like quietly, secretly passed?
Is that
with
the
the CISA package?
CISPA or
Yeah,
whatever.
the fuck it is.
Yeah, the one where where Obama said, "I'm going to watch Star Wars," and he apparently just signed this demonic thing into. Yeah, it's scary.
Well, just I mean, there's a lot of leeway now for like what they can and can't spy on you for, what they decide to look into your life for.
So if we follow up what you were saying about how something controlled by the state, gets miniaturized and cheaper and
Yes.
eventually becomes available to everyone. If we apply that same thing to weaponry, I've been thinking about this for a long time. Nukes are getting smaller and smaller. They've got suitcase nukes now.
Thank
Yes.
God.
Yeah. Much more convenient.
It's so annoying to have to
When are
carry
they gonna
one in
have
your
a
truck.
backpack nuke? I'm tired of suitcases.
Exactly, right. So are we going to come to the point where any terrorist group, so-called terrorist group, and I use that word in air quotes, can have access to these things? What's that going to mean to world politics? Are we going to come to a point, kind of like everyone in Switzerland has guns, this philosophy, if everyone had guns, everyone would chill out and be nice to each other? Are we going to come to that point internationally where if people are aggrieved enough, they can really fuck up the game? And so then the attention will shift to not having people so aggrieved. Because right now we don't give a fuck, right? We'll go blow them up. If they're that pissed off, they're going to come for us. Then we'll send drones and kill them all. But if they could come for us with a speedboat and nukes, is that a game changer, or do you think the whole thing just shifts to another level and stays the same?
We would have to address the root of the problem if it was that accessible. If
That's
so
what
many
I'm
people,
thinking. It
I mean,
could
that's
be
it's like the ultimate statement of an armed society is a polite society.
Yeah. Right.
It's almost like the ultimate expression of that. Like a well-armed nuclear society is fucking super polite.
cool.
Imagine knocking on your neighbor's door and telling him his dog's barking too loud when he's wearing a fucking nuke vest. He's like,
blow up the entire city.
what were you saying? My dog's making too much noise? Fuck it, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to take care of him. Do you want the dog? I'm going to hit this button. Let's just do this. I'm going to wipe out the whole block.
No, man, what you're talking about, I did an interview up at...
It's a very good point.
I did an interview at Singularity University, and he brought up this exact thing.
Oh, yeah.
And which is that, he was explaining it in terms of bioweapons, that people are creating these, like, apparently are like fucking around with genes in their garages. And then he was saying, like, things like the ability to launch satellites and just about anything you can imagine. He said that what he said, and I think he may have, I don't know, he didn't say he was exaggerating, but he said we're looking at, if technology continues to accelerate as it is, we're looking at a point in human history where anybody, if they wanted to, could destroy the entire planet or cause massive damage. And so you think to yourself, all right, well, let's imagine that was the case, and somehow, by some miracle, every government of the world suddenly figured out a way to address everybody's personal issues. There was still going to be 1 or 2, more likely 1,000 people who are like, no, that's cool, man, but I think I'm going to detonate this nuclear bomb that I've created in my 3D printer from fucking who knows how. It's a big question mark, or something even worse than that. So this thing, what you're talking about, I think, is the that awful race Terrence McKenna talked about that we're in, which is that here we have this race between absolute destruction and some kind of via technology that doesn't even exist yet, and some kind of utopian awakening. I know this kind of stuff probably makes you want to punch me, but I know not really.
It makes me want to hug you and kiss you
because it's ridiculous. But these are these two. These are these two races that are happening right now. One of them is, without question, technology is going to get to the point where every single human has access to some kind of device more powerful than any other human in the past ever had access to. And the question is that going to happen before some other form of technology emerges that makes us all unify into one organism, or some beautiful thing happens? It's a pretty terrifying... It's a terrifying relay race, man. It really is. It's not a relay race. It's a terrifying race. And
but isn't that kind of always the case? Like, we need some sort of a problem to overcome it. We need competition. We need a yin and a yang. We need a dark and a light. We need we need a tide. We need, like, a cycle. And it's almost like we need this resistance of, like, us building towards this technological singularity almost. It's going to be in your fucking iPhone, and everyone's going to have the ability, and we're like, well, we have to fix humanity in order to have this happen.
Yeah.
The only way that we're going to survive is we fix humanity. And so, you know what I've been thinking? This is something, I've never talked to an economist about this, but in my own stupid head, I think we're going to run into a bottleneck with technology. And I think one of the big bottlenecks is technology is all about access to information, right? Technology, like, as far as what's going on, it's like your ability to do things, whether it's to project images on screens or to download things faster or to number crunch or the various different things that technology can do.
Yeah.
But the way we're using it today, a big factor is the ability to exchange information and the access to information and the access to each other. And it seems like it's getting closer and closer and closer, right? Access is getting quicker.
Yes.
There's more information. It's easier to get to. The boundaries between people are getting smaller and smaller. What's the bottleneck? Bottleneck's going to be money. And money is ones and zeros. That's what money is. Money, right? If ultimately all information becomes available to all people at all times, that's ultimate enlightenment, right? Instantaneous information constantly available to everyone. Well, isn't money information now? Because money's not sacks of gold. You're not talking about, I've got 15 bushels of gold. How many you got? I win. No, we're talking about some weird ones and zeros and plastic that makes these ones and zeros transfer.
Right.
Magnetic strip. You slide on the machine. You punch in your numbers. Like, it's not real anymore.
Yeah.
It's information. And in transferring our money to information, the bottleneck is going to be money. We're going to come to this ultimate point where we realize, look, we can't protect money anymore. You can't say this is Duncan's money, this is Chris's money, because it's going to be just money.
Right.
It's going to be just money. And I mean, maybe there'll be some sort of a merit-based use system where you can have access to money or use money. We'll have to figure out some sort of a way around it, but it'll have to be some sort of like ethical thing that we all agree on. If I'm looking at it correctly, and I'm looking at all of these trends that lead to quicker and quicker access to information, more and more availability of that information, access to information becoming universal. Well, what's the money? Money's information. It's ones and zeros. That's all it is. Well, how are you going to stop it if that's the trend? If the trend ultimately becomes instantaneous, constant access to all information for everybody, no secrets, none exist anymore. They don't exist. I can read your email, you can read mine.
Right.
We're all communicating with each other. That's it. There's no more
Right.
secrets. How does money fit in there? Unless we go back to fucking collecting clamshells and putting them on strings, and this is look how many knots I have on my string. That's what
Right.
it used to. We're gonna have silver coins and shit. What are we gonna do?
But I would question the premise that money ever was real. You seem to be saying that we're reaching a point where it will no longer be real, like bushels of gold. That's just symbolic too. I don't think money ever was anything more than agreement between people that we're all going to pretend this is real.
It's true, right? Because locally, your money is different than someone in Greece. You go with your money there. There's some sort of exchange. You have to make an agreement. Do you
Right.
accept my money? Well, I accept your money, but it's not really worth $1. How much is it worth over here? 75 cents. God damn it!
Yeah.
But last month it was $1.25. Well, times have changed. We don't like your money as much anymore. And they make deals.
Yeah, our central bank,
Yeah.
who's staffed by people we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of mystery at the heart of
We
that.
used to be able to go to Canada, and it was awesome. We'd do Montreal, and you'd get like $1.50 for $1,
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Like food would be cheaper, everything would be cheaper. Like, oh, your money goes a long way in Canada, and then it shifted, and then the Canadians would come to America because the money would go a long way here. Their money was worth more than ours.
Have you ever heard of Grant Morrison?
Yeah,
Do you know Grant? You should have him on the show, man. He's a
but
genius.
refresh my memory.
Grant Morrison he writes a bunch of incredible comic books. One of them I'm super into right now, are graphic novels called the Invisibles. But he's really smart. There's a Grant Morrison lecture, he was like at a disinfo gathering, and he gives this really cool lecture or talk. And one of the things he said is that the super elite, they have gone back to a barter economy because money doesn't mean anything to you if you have billions and billions and billions of dollars. So the normal way to get someone to do something is to say, okay, I'll give you X dollars for you to do this thing. But if you've got infinite money and someone asks you to do something to give you more money to add to your infinite pool of money, it's not an incentive anymore. You're not incentivized by money, so it's more like, what can you do for me? It's like it goes back to some kind of weird. Maybe you're going to barter power. Maybe you're going to barter some access or something like that. But money is irrelevant to the super elite. Money only means something to people who are in the lower and middle class. Once you have an infinite amount of the shit, it's completely and absolutely irrelevant. Which is what you're saying. Everything then theoretically would have to go back to some weird barter economy where
Right, but we're never going to reach a point of ultimate resources where everyone has the same access to things that the super elite does because there's just not enough stuff.
Well, this is where you get into the idea of experience generation. You know, like if we get to like Google, this thing you're talking about, Google contact lenses, it's not going to stop at the eye.
Right.
Like technology is doing the thing to us that the fucking face suckers on Aliens do. It started off far away. It was our phones. It was our computers. Then it was on our desks. It was a nice safe distance. Then it got into our pockets. It tried to climb onto our face with the Google glasses, but nobody liked that. But now it's getting into our eyes, and it's not going to stop at our eyes. Technology is going to merge with our consciousness, and when it merges with our consciousness, the theory would be that it could somehow create experiences that were indistinguishable from reality, which means that really what's the difference? There is no more. You can't, like, you don't.
We're already using bionic parts on people.
Right.
Sure. Hips. Yeah. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. My wife has ocular implants.
Oh,
She has
okay.
lenses
Yeah.
surgically implanted in her eyes.
Yeah, this is not new stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing artificial knees. They're doing artificial hips.
Yeah.
I mean, how long is it going to be before someone comes along and says, listen, Duncan, you have two choices. You can either wear glasses, you have 2400 vision, and
Yes.
you know, we have glasses for you, and that's fine if you enjoy it. Or there's a really simple procedure, it takes 5 minutes. We replace your eyeball with an artificial eyeball.
it.
You don't feel any pain.
But you'll
And you
have to put
instantly-
up with ads every 60 seconds.
Okay,
Well, you can click
opt
that
out.
ad. You can click the ad. You just reach up. You
Just
touch the
blink.
X in space.
You blink, yeah.
But this is what's the name of that that thought experiment about the ship? Somebody's ship. You know, the one where it's like the idea is like a sailor is sailing across the ocean, and the mast, he needs to replace the mast, and so he replaces the mast, and then he replaces, I can't remember his name. You know what I'm
and
talking
it's a different ship
It's a
when he
different ship.
arrives.
By the time he
right.
gets there, it's all new parts, but it's
Right.
still his ship. So it's like with technology, it's the same thing. Like, what
Yep.
if we keep replacing our? There it is, the ship of Theseus. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, the idea is like, what is humanity, or when
Right.
do we stop being a
Well,
human?
that's the whole idea about downloading consciousness, right? Figuring
Right.
out a way to put consciousness into a computer. And how do you know when you've done it? Like, how do you know what consciousness is? I mean, is consciousness inexorably attached to your physical being, or is consciousness something that's out there that you're just your consciousness is riding around this meat wagon?
Right.
Is that what's going on? There's no agreement on that. I mean,
Also, we need to define what we mean by human. Because I would argue that we've already left human experience and we're already well into something else.
What would you call it that we're into?
I equate it to, I mean, you might know this, that every locust starts off as a grasshopper. And what happens is there's this particular, the best example is in North Africa. It's this species of grasshopper that when the population density gets tight, sufficiently tight, there's a trigger point, and different genes are triggered and activated in the body. They're pre-existing genes, so it's the same DNA, but it changes the shape of the head, changes the legs, changes the coloration, and changes the behavior, and that's when they become locusts and swarm. And so I think that humans are like the grasshopper locusts, and I think that with agriculture we became locusts and started swarming, and we're well into swarm behavior at this point. And so for the sake of argument, I would say human, the way I would define it, is hunter-gatherer, which is 95+% of our time on the planet. That's human behavior. And what we are now is shifted into this other, you could say artificial, you could just say emergent behavior pattern that conflicts with our grasshopperness, right? And that we're suffering from. That's what this latest book is about. And so, you know, I would say we're no longer human. It's like we're a bunch of poodles talking about when we stop being wolves, you know?
I'll tell you this: if I was a fucking locust, and there was a grasshopper that's like, "You're not a grasshopper anymore," I'd be like, "Awesome!" Because I can fly. I'm flying. I've evolved. This is our major disagreement here: is you want to be a grasshopper. I'm cool with being a locust, but but it's an interesting thing, right?
well, what I think he's saying is just, there's more inherent biological happiness into remaining a grasshopper or remaining a human.
Right. That's why the things that resonate most deeply with us are the things that reflect that
Yeah.
pre-agricultural life.
Right.
You hunting, for example.
Dude.
You're not having trouble focusing your mind when you're hunting. It
You don't think
just
about
comes to
anything
you.
else. And
yeah.
you're tapping in. Have you ever caught a nice fish? You've gone
Yes.
fishing before.
Yes, I
You know
have.
that feeling when you catch a nice fish? There's a feeling,
Yeah.
there's a primal reaction. And I'm saying a nice fish because it's easier for people to accept because it's a cold-blooded animal. Like there's something
Yeah.
about like saying there's something about when you get a nice deer in your sights and you're ready to end its life. People are like, no!
Yeah.
Right when I'm about to eat a bear. No!
Yeah.
But you say a fish, they go, oh, you caught a fish?
They
Yeah.
eat other fish.
Yeah, but whatever. It's just for whatever reason, people don't care if you catch a fish. They don't give a fuck. We differentiate. We have more value in warm-blooded animals than we put in fish for whatever fucking
Well,
reason.
because
But
fish
it's-
can't scream. I mean, I think if what is Mitch Hedberg's got that great joke like, thank God the fish can't scream because the ocean would be the scariest place because you'd just be hearing
Fish jacking each other. That's true. That's right.
But there is something about their
Yeah.
expressionlessness that makes
Sure.
some people, I
Yeah.
think.
They don't take care of their young. That's a big one. Like this woman said that to me. One of the reasons why she eats fish She doesn't eat chicken or any other animals. I go, why? She goes, well, fish don't take care of their young. I was like, damn, that's gangster.
Yeah.
She drew the line in the sand.
And they eat each other. I
They
mean,
do.
they
Well, they're
do.
cannibals.
Yeah.
Like almost exclusively. I mean, almost universally. Like trout. One of the best ways to catch trout is with little baby trout
Right.
lures. They look like a trout.
Yeah.
Largemouth bass, little largemouth bass lures. Occasionally, you catch them with those. You know, they don't give a fuck. They're just here to eat.
Yeah.
Whatever they can eat. They're done.
But
No
but
morals.
it's innately. Inherently meaningful is what I'm saying, right? And the
Right.
reason it's inherently meaningful is because that's the animal that we evolved to be.
Yeah.
And now we live in this society that's distracting us from that, trying to sell it back in little pieces. Maybe you can afford a hunting weekend in Utah at this
Right.
ranch. And what the hell was the point?
Well,
What
the
were we
point
talking
is
about?
we've
Talking
lost
about
something.
Losing the
Oh,
changing
humanity. When do we stop
humans.
being
Yeah.
human?
Yeah.
I think we already have. And I think that's the major fucking ailment of our time.
It's
is
certainly
that we're
a
too
part of
far.
it. It's a part of it. And I certainly think there's a series of reward systems in our bodies that are not getting checked off like they used to. Like rewards like fear, overcoming fear,
Right.
difficulty, physical exertion,
Yeah.
all these different things that people did. And then the thing of seeing the fish, catching the fish, like, oh, there's this
Right.
visceral genetic response to getting a fish. Like, you got it, now you're going to eat. And that
Your friends are going to eat.
Yes. When you pull
Yeah.
a big fish out, you're like, there's this weird feeling where everybody you get a little charge. Like we had a successful gathering. You got something.
Right.
And now we can eat. And that's it's built in. It's built into your system, and it doesn't exist when you go to the supermarket and you pick up that salmon steak that's already in saran wrap and it's already got the little styrofoam bottom that you don't feel a damn thing. You don't feel anything, but you get the same amount of nutrients. It's very strange what we've done. We've completely removed all of the natural elements while needing those natural elements at the same time. So we've removed any connection that we have to, like, we're eating this. Chris has brought this amazing ham. What is this stuff called again?
Jamon jabugo.
It's delicious. And explain it, because it's a really cool way they make it.
Right. It's made from pigs that are the same race of pigs that the Romans brought to Spain originally 2,000 years ago. It's called pata negra, which means black foot. And this is so in Spanish ham. There are different gradations, and this is the highest gradation. And all they do is eat acorns. They live out in these big open fields. Beautiful. I've driven through there in Extremadura on my motorcycle. And then they're cured. It's not cooked at all. It's not smoked. It's cured with salt, lots of salt, and then hung up in certain temperature. And
How long is it good for? How long does it sit for?
I mean,
Forever?
forever. Yeah.
Wow.
And you can buy these. I mean, I would love to bring you one, but I don't think they let them in the country. But you buy the whole leg.
Whoa, like a whole ham that's cured.
Yeah, and in most Spanish houses, they'll have a ham, and it'll be there. And so they've got this holder, and you have a long knife, and you slice it really thin.
So it just doesn't go bad at all?
No, because it's cured
That's incredible that you could have a whole ham leg sitting out and it
all
just
the
doesn't.
way inside. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So you put
How the
a
fuck do they do that?
towel over it or
Right.
something so that flies don't get on it, and
Right.
that's it. You know.
Wow.
And it can be there, and it's a traditional thing around Christmas to give a gift of a ham. And it'll last 5-6 months, whatever, till they're done eating it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So my point being that this meat is in front of us. It's delicious. It was from an animal that wasn't even alive on this continent. Someone killed it in Spain, did all this stuff to it. You brought it over here. We're eating it. We have zero connection to any of those activities.
Yeah.
We don't have. We're just eating it. It's delicious. We're loving it. But it's all.
But
this-
not as much as if we'd raised the pig and been involved in the process.
Well,
know?
I cooked a ham. I smoked a ham. I haven't done one for about 6 months, but the last one I did was an animal that I shot, and I smoked it in my, I brined it for 6 days, and then I smoked it. It was like this big project that I did. And yeah, it was a way different sort of a feeling when you're eating it. It's like I have a leg. I have a pig leg of a full ham on the bone. It's about that big. It's sitting in my freezer that I'm eventually going to brine sometime soon. And I'll stick that sucker in this. It's like water with garlic and salt and brown sugar, and it sits in there for about 6 days. And then I smoke it at like 250 degrees for hours and hours until it's just this juicy, delicious, and 140 degrees in the center, so all the potential parasites are dead. God, so good.
I got a big green egg, and I gotta
Those are
say,
great.
man, there's some weird peace that comes over you.
What's a green egg?
It's just like it's a really cool grill, man, and it's a fire grill. So you've got to, it's not a gas grill. So you have to adjust there's like all these wonderful dials you have to adjust to get the heat right. But yeah, man, like when you're sitting over an open fire cooking, it feels good. I mean, I know what you mean. And it's like it's like this thing like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I miss this feeling. Like this feels feels as good as when I like jump into a swimming pool or something. It's like elemental. And
or like a nutrient your body needs that you're not getting, and then you eat it and your body's going, please, thank you, give me more.
Well, there's also this like there's moments that people throughout history have had success hunting and then eaten that meal over a campfire. And when you do that, that is the most rewarding of all fires. Right. Like I've eaten meat that we shot like hours before from a deer on a campfire in the middle of Montana, and it was one of the greatest nights of my life.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Me and Brian Callen and Steve Ranella and my friend Ryan Callahan and a bunch of other friends were on this show, and when we were sitting around this fire, we're eating, I was like, I can't remember a more enjoyable meal. Because there's fire and there's an animal that was just killed and we're cooking it and preparing it together. There's all this camaraderie. There's this successful hunt aspect of it. And then there's this primal satisfaction that you get from watching meat cook over fire.
And feeling the warmth of the, I don't know how cold it was, but
very cold.
There's a sense of accomplishment. Like we're comfortable because we're smart. You know, there's some, I love sleeping in a tent when it's raining. And you're like, wow, like arm's length from me is miserable, cold drizzle. And I am warm. I got my candle lantern. I got my doobies. I'm like completely happy here. I love the sense of accomplishment in that.
That's another great feeling. The feeling of rain when you're safe inside.
Or sleeping in a van even, you know, just the sound. So I think this is the key to human happiness that we're ignoring, that our society takes all these things that were free and daily reality for our ancestors, takes them away and sells back cheap copies along with antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds.
Right.
I think that's a summation of where we are.
Do you think that it's possible that we, like you said, are no longer human and we're becoming this other thing? That this is a drawn-out process and we're just caught up in the wake of it?
Yeah, we're domestic. We're in the process of being domesticated.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think when you look at like the extreme progressive left movement that are just like so focused on like using the correct gender pronouns, do not offend, don't use this, like we were talking about with this Harvard placemat that they're handing back. This is like an uber domestication thing. I mean, it's almost like domestification. Is that a word?
You look at the American male. I mean, talk about getting your balls snipped, man. In the last 15 years, it's become offensive to even be a man.
It's become offensive to express a happiness with masculinity.
Right.
Like to be a bro.
To be a straight
You
man.
can't be a bro.
But you know
There's
what?
even a term for it.
Look at, I think if you look at what the real problem is, it seems to be that people have mistaken language with intention.
Yes.
And so that's where the problem is. It's that words, you know, certain words. I mean, I've had it happen on Twitter where you get. I think I did a podcast with Aubrey, and he said the female perspective, and so someone on Twitter gets into a argument with me over how that you shouldn't say female perspective because that's. And I was saying, well, look, you know, I know about the female perspective because I see from it a lot. Because inside of me, I've got like a lot of. I have a feminine side of me so I know what that is. It's the, you know, Carl Jung was talking about the anima and the animus, that there's a masculine and a feminine inside of everybody, that they're just in you.
Not me, bro.
I know you're free of it.
Bro.
You're free of it. But
Speak for yourself, bro.
But it's that when people get caught up in the symbol versus what the symbol is representing, and completely ignore the fact, like think of how many different forms of fuck there are, like the term fuck, or how many different forms of the word shit there are, and all of them are intention based, you know, like you could say, if I say, there's so many ways I could say fuck you to you, like I can be like, fuck you, man. Or I could be like, hey, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
And it's two different fuck yous.
Or you could do something awesome and I go, dude, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. And
like that works too, right?
Exactly. Or like, man, I'm gonna fuck you, Joe. But the point is, there's like every single one of these has behind it an energy that has been encapsulated into the sound, and that energy is all that matters to me. And the fact that everyone has been caught up in the sound itself and forgotten the fact that the energy behind it is all that matters, that's where things are getting fucked up.
Exactly what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about religion.
Right, exactly.
And drugs, right? We're talking about why people are addicted to drugs. We're not talking about the emptiness of their lives that leads them into those heroin and prescription drugs and all that. Also terrorism. We're talking about bombs going off and people getting killed. We're not talking about why someone's life is so empty that you put on a suicide vest in the first place. We're looking at the surface of things, and we're not interested in what's going on behind.
Right. Exactly.
I was watching Fox News the other day, and there's some woman who was on, and she was doing like one of those open letter to the president things, and she was doing it all Fox Newsy, you know, and she was saying, this country was founded on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah.
And she was going to this thing about responding, and Obama's response to the terror attacks in Paris.
Not sufficiently bro-ish.
Exactly. Not sufficiently aggressive, or didn't make her feel comfortable that he's
Safe.
on top of it. Yeah.
Your job is to keep me safe.
But it's just really
Fuck that
an
phrase.
opportunity for her to step up and, you know, and proclaim her ideology to be the greatest ideology. And this other ideology that's killing people,
Right.
these representatives of this ideology are the bad. There's the enemy of this United States of America, which was founded by my cult.
Right. That's it, man. That's interesting.
saying,
Yeah,
right?
because you realize that that there is a kind of war that's raging around this planet, but it's like a war against people who are, for whatever reason, intent on expressing anger into the world, intent on expressing power over other people into the world, and people who are thinking, I think there might be another way. Maybe there was a way that we could readapt or maybe or evolve to fit into the society, or maybe there's a whole new way where we don't have to try to constantly punch back at a person who has punched us. That's the war. It's just a war between when you get fucking hit on the interstate, when your nice car gets hit because some asshole isn't paying attention, do you get out and scream at him, or do you ask him if he's okay? And there's a whole group of people who think, no, you fuck that motherfucker up. You teach him a lesson. Let him understand that if he's not paying a fucking attention, he's going to get fucked up. You become the hand of God in the world, bringing vengeance as much as you can. Or the other version of it is you try to overcome that desire and you become a servant of some concept, which is that the most important thing, even if we've lost everything, man, even if we become locusts and it's all gone, and the more you talk about it, man, the more I do know what you mean. Earlier I was like, I'm a locust, but I do hear what you're saying. I think it's very sweet and actually kind of tragic and sad. But if this is the case, then we still have to figure out a way to, like, even now, as much as possible, put out into the world love. And it doesn't matter what language we're using if love is behind it. I think that's the highest thing, by the way. I think that's all that matters, is like, that meal was good because you were with people you loved. If you were sitting after that hunt with a bunch of people that you disliked or assholes, I bet it wouldn't have been as delicious of a meal.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that thought. It wouldn't have been as good. We had several meals behind the campfire where we didn't kill anything. It wasn't as good.
And also, you're in a love supporting environment there.
Yeah,
you're
there you
working
go.
together, you're in nature,
Yep.
you're around a fire.
And you're successful at something that's difficult.
All those things, even if they were assholes, you'd probably find more common ground with them there than you would sitting around a conference table.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
there's definitely there's also a separation from society, complete, total separation. When you're up there, there's no cell phone signal. You don't hear anything. It's complete silence. It's a very strange feeling of almost a lonely detachment, because you realize you're not just off the grid. The grid is nowhere to be seen.
And you need each other.
Yeah, you need each other. Yeah, you got to
See,
raft.
I think that's where we come from. We come from this place where we need each other,
Right.
and where the first thing you think, like hunter-gatherers, they share arrows. And so, like,
They do?
they typically share arrows. So I make arrows a certain way, you make them another way, whatever. But then we all give them to each other. They're constantly flowing. So you might be on a hunt where you shot the elk. That arrow that you shot is in the elk, but I made it. and it's a way of obscuring who gets credit for the kill.
Oh, that's cool.
And you find this universally among foragers, whether it's in the Inuit or in Papua New Guinea. They have these mechanisms to make sure that the sharing happens, not only of the meat, but of the reputational aspect.
That's interesting.
Everybody's cool. There are all these mechanisms built in to keep anybody from like getting too big for their britches, you know?
Until the cannibals move in. And then they start killing people and eating them because there's no protein, because their arrows sucked and they couldn't get any elk.
Yeah, it's a problem. The cannibals will move in.
Those motherfuckers. You got to be ready.
I love that
Here's
idea.
the good
though.
news about the locusts. They do switch back to grasshoppers.
Oh, you can be a grasshopper
The
again,
swarm
Duncan.
stops. Yeah, eventually.
And then you can't fly anymore, you fuck.
And locusts are
blew it.
cannibalistic and grasshoppers aren't.
Wow.
To tie it into the whole
They
cannibalism
eat each
thing.
other?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's why
Jesus
they swarm, because
Christ.
if you slow down, the one behind you will eat you.
Oh, my God. That's what we are.
It's like working at Amazon.
Well, that's what's like working in New York City. Like if you're yeah, working in Amazon is supposed to be crazy, right?
yeah,
Like
and those warehouses.
They all run around.
Especially this time of year.
They have a timer. Have you ever? There was a. I think it was a Radio Lab podcast. It was one of the podcasts that I listened to that talked to an ex-employee at Amazon about what kind of stress it is to work. Like, say if you order something, like say if you order a LED flashlight,
Yeah.
right? And it shows up on their. They have like a little pad, like a a tablet device, and it has a timer, and it's like you have to go find this and you have to grab it. And you have like 30 seconds. So you're like literally running, looking for this flashlight, and you have to get it to the sorting and put it in the box and get the label
Crazy.
They had
so
this
It's
one.
like a terrible game show.
Yeah, exactly. What? There was a show like that
Yeah,
when I was a
game show.
kid,
Yeah.
where you had to run the Money Maze or
Yeah.
something like that.
I remember that. You had to fill your card up with the most expensive things or something. And
Well, no, this is a different one. This is where you got like couples, and you got the wives up on a platform and the two husbands down, and there's a maze like where the wall's 7 feet high, and the women can see where the money is, and they're yelling to their husbands like rats, like, "No, go left! No, I said left!" Ah! And the husbands are scurrying around in the maze, and whoever gets to the money pot first wins. It's a good divorce-generating game show. Like so many of them.
what do you think, man? You think it's hopeless? You like when you talk about it and you talk about it, and then I think about it. It's like it fills you this a kind of like weird nostalgia. Like you think, my God, there's a type of life that is clearly still accessible to people, but maybe not accessible to everyone as a whole. Do you have any idea of like how you would reorganize or restructure?
I mean,
society?
what I say in the book is like, well, there's no way we're going back. That's over, right? Because there's 7 billion, they're going to be 10 billion in 100 years. There's no way. There's not enough land or animals or whatever. So we're going to live in an artificial environment. But, you're going to live in a zoo. Do you want to live in the Calcutta Zoo or the San Diego Zoo? Right? I mean, come on. The San Diego Zoo, it's built with an understanding of the natural environment of the animals that are enclosed there. So I want to live in a natural environment that's got my interests in mind. And in order to do that, you have to understand what kind of animal Homo sapiens is, which means you have to cut through a lot of the bullshit propaganda that you've been hearing your whole life. This Hobbesian bullshit about how prehistoric people all died in their 30s and it was a struggle for survival and predators lurked in every shadow and it was this terrible, dangerous world. You actually look at the anthropological data, hunter-gatherers are chilled out, happy, relaxed people who are not dealing with the sorts of chronic stress we are. And you hear all these bullshit arguments that wouldn't last a second if they weren't propping up the civilizational edifice. Like that everyone died in their 30s in hunter-gatherers. That's absolutely untrue. But I just heard the dean of the medical school of Columbia University say it in an NPR interview. It's everywhere.
Not the worst thing to happen to you. Die young.
Well, there's certainly like some benefits to modern medicine, 100%.
Yeah,
but there's
for sure.
there's also some negative consequences of our overly complicated society. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the levels of depression that people experience and the levels of discontent with their existence. We were talking yesterday about people wanting to take a chance to go do something. They want to like do something outside of what they're doing for a job. Like maybe they like making pottery or whatever it is, but
Right.
they just don't have the time. Maybe they want to be a tattooist. They just don't have the time to dedicate to jump into it, and then along the way you get saddled up with debt and maybe a family that you have an obligation to feed, and then you're stuck and you're trapped.
Right.
That trap, that feeling of discontent with one's own daily existence, your day-by-day life, is more commonplace than not. It's way more common.
And it's essential, as we were saying, to keep you running on the wheel. You got to believe the Rolex is going to make you happy. The car's going to, then the next thing's going to do it. That's a pernicious lie that's we've heard so many times. We come to believe it's an aspect of reality itself, and it isn't.
Right.
And that's if you look at the hunter-gatherer data, what you see is these people who, I mean, you were talking about it earlier, how we need something to, like a challenge to take us to the next level. For them, the challenge is like, oh, we're going to go hunting, and it'll feel great, and we'll eat. And if we don't eat, then we'll eat tomorrow.
Well, that's why those subsistence shows, have you ever watched those A&E shows and Discovery Channel shows? Those shows are extremely popular today.
Right.
Because people are sort of recognizing that, like, wow, these people seem happy, and all they have is like 5 dogs. They live in Alaska, and they just take their sled out, and they chop down a fucking tree to build a house with. Like, these people are like living on the edge. They're scooping
it's
salmon out of the
immediacy.
river. Yeah,
But
that's the thing, the immediacy.
Just to play devil's advocate here, isn't this a different version of what you're talking about? The modern human thinks if I have this thing, a car, or whatever the thing is, a nicer job, a better whatever, I'll be happy. What you're saying is, if I have an immediacy, if I'm more connected to nature, if I move to Alaska, if I become a hunter, I'll be happy. But both of these things have within them the idea that I need some other thing to be happy. Whereas what I keep hearing and what I subscribe to is that to be happy, you have to be in the present moment, wherever you are, whatever situation you're in, whatever's going on, whether you're in an office, in a job you don't like, in a marriage you don't like, with a bunch of kids that you don't like. Instead of fleeing from that by planning some fantasy of becoming a tattooist or a potter, the real way out is to allow yourself to be fully in the experience of what's happening right now. And that thing itself, just doing that, and maybe that is what happens when you're in nature, is you're more in the present moment.
Yeah, but that makes way more sense when you're in nature. Because if you're working in an insurance company and you're just going over clients' claims day in and day out, it's super hard to be in a joyful moment. It's super hard to be there when you really want to get out of there and make music.
Well,
like you have songs and ideas in your head, you want to put them to wax, but your fucking kids need formula.
Well, it's not joy. The thing is, it's like the idea is, sure, for sure, but this is where you're at right now. That's it.
Right.
That's where you are. You're not at a situation where you're going to start a band, and you're not in a situation where you're going to become a potter right now. Could be in the future. But the trick is that even though you're not in the fucking Adirondacks hunting and you're not fishing, even though you're wherever you're at right now, get into that place. Let yourself feel, and it's not about happiness. It's certainly not about joy or bliss or anything like that. You're not feeling joy and bliss. You're feeling a kind of claustrophobic horror at the concept that what the situation you're in right now is going to continue forever. And so your mind has fabricated an escape route, which is this thing or that thing, whatever it may be. But the true situation is that until you train yourself to be in the present moment, it doesn't matter where you are. You're dead. You're not alive. You're not. It doesn't matter. You have to train yourself to get in the moment. Then once you're in the moment, then start making the moves.
Okay, now you say in the moment. Like, how do you address that? Like, when you're thinking about you being in the moment, like your own personal experience.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do to try to achieve that sort of centered feeling?
It's the practice of mindfulness.
Right.
So it's the idea of, I will notice from time to time when I'm lucky that I've been carried away by my thoughts. Like that fucking thing you were saying about laying in bed, you can generate more stress chemicals. I'll recognize, like, holy shit, I've been in a vortex of thinking for the last 2 days. I've been caught in this like endless recurring series of worries or scenarios or whatever it may be, or things I need to do or things I just did. And suddenly I realized I haven't been here at all. I've just been caught up in what's called in your head. You're caught up in the thought pattern. So the practice is, and this is something like, Jack Kornfield talks about how the guy who taught him meditation Ajahn Chah, was saying to him that one of his students was saying, "I'm too busy to meditate. I'm too busy to meditate. I don't have time to do that." And his response was, "Are you too busy to breathe? Are you too busy to breathe? You can breathe, right? That's all you need to do. All you need is your breath. And no matter where you are, what you're doing, where you're at, you can begin to put your attention away from the incredible array of worries that you have, incredible array of fantasies that you have, incredible arrays of, if this had happened, I'd be happier, or if I could do this, I'll be a better person," and just bring it to your breath, in and out, in through the nose, out through the nose. And then it's not going to stop these fucking thoughts, but instead of you being controlled by them and caught up in them, I mean, talk about looking at your fucking cell phone. Get rid of cell phones. People are still looking at cell phones. It's just their various worries and things that they're constantly ruminating over. It's another form of the cell phone. You're fixating on these endless, recurring worries. So you bring it to the breath, the worries emerge, the happiness, whatever it is there, but it's not you. You're not identifying with it anymore. You're not identifying with the specific emotional state, the specific intellectual state, the specific thing anymore. You're just observing and watching. And that thing, that consciousness, the more you become that, the more you will find yourself experiencing what you were talking about. These rare moments of peace, these moments of like, whoa, holy shit. Regardless of what's happening around me, I'm still centered, untouched, unfreaked out, unanxious. I'm just watching. So that's the concept, and it's a very hopeful concept because some people do not have access to the kind of zoo you're talking about. Prisoners, for example, people who are incarcerated right now, they don't get to get out of that system. So they have to find a way in the midst of all of that negative phenomena to allow themselves to experience the same kind of peace or tranquility that you are experiencing with your friends in front of that campfire. And that is why the concept of cultivation is so important in Buddhism, which is the idea that these experiences, which in many different world religions say at their root what is so wonderful about them is love, that feeling of love, which is also compared to the feeling of coming home, being at home, finding your home, coming back home, it's all the same, because the feeling of, what is the feeling of being at home? It's a feeling of being, what did you call it, a situation of acceptance and love? It's that feeling of being truly safe.
Right.
Not safe because of the government, but safe because you're surrounded by people who love you and you're loving them and you know that you could be taken care of. The concept is that feeling can be cultivated. And that cultivation starts with some form of the practice of mindfulness or whatever you want to call it.
I think what you're saying actually isn't in conflict at all with the other point, you know, because the mindfulness, being here in the moment, I think if you've got a shitty job in a cubicle and you're trying to distract yourself from it, you're listening to podcasts all day while you shuffle paperwork or whatever, right? And you're not really being in the moment. It is advantageous to be in the moment if it allows you to see that the moment is fucking killing you.
Yes, exactly.
And then you make a realistic, you're not going to be a hunter-gatherer, but you make a realistic plan to change your life.
Yeah, that's
right?
it, man.
It can be abused, right? I mean, if you're in prison, that's a different deal. You're going to be there for 10 years. You're not going to, like, don't try to escape, is my advice. But if it's just a dead-end job, I mean, I got this great email a couple days ago from someone who, I had these guys on who live in camper vans, several. Like one guy, funny guy, he worked in a tiger sanctuary in Thailand, teaching baby tigers not to eat people, essentially. He was like the guinea pig who would go in and play with the baby tigers to teach them, like, don't eat people, people are cool. Anyway, he flew to Chile, bought a VW camper van, and drove from Chile to Alaska in this camper van.
Whoa.
And just picked up people along the way and, you know, had all these
That's
adventures.
cool.
4 years, I think he said.
Wow.
Anyways,
4 years of driving?
Yeah.
Well,
I
so
mean,
just-
off and on, you know,
right.
it would break down. I think he swapped out the engine 5 times or something because VW vans are not known for reliability. Anyway, so somebody who'd listened to this series of podcasts I did with people who live in their vans, some guy's like, yeah, I quit my job. My wife and I bought a van. We've been in it 6 months, and it's fucking awesome. You know, it's like he completely changed his life. He's thrilled. I love to hear
Well,
shit
if you
like that.
live in a shitty situation like that long enough, with a job you hate and bills that don't make any sense and for stuff that you don't even want or enjoy anymore, then that idea of getting in that camper and just driving across the country seems amazing. It seems like freedom.
And it's doable. It's
Yeah, for a lot
doable
of
if
people.
you're willing to give up a lot of the bullshit. You know.
That's right. Yeah, that's the thing, man.
My friend Steve Maxwell, he doesn't even have a camper. He just lives in hotels. He has a bag for all of his belongings. He's a personal trainer. He's like world renowned. He puts on these camps and seminars and stuff like that. And him and his girlfriend, they travel all over the world, constant travel. That's all they do. They stay from hotel to hotel, and he trains people everywhere. And he used to have a big gym, and he used to have a house. And then he went from the big gym and the house. He got divorced. He got a camper van, like you sleep in it. Got sick of that. Sold that fucking thing. Said, you know what? I'm just gonna get everything down to a 10-gallon bag. He's got a 10-gallon bag with all his worldly possessions, and that's it.
Yeah.
Digital nomads. You know
Yeah.
about them? It's a growing, thriving world of young people who have jobs where they do stuff on the internet, right? They're either coding or editing or whatever, something you can do through the computer. So if you're making money through the computer, why are you living in LA where you're paying $2,000, $3,000
Right.
for, you know? So they move to places like Bangkok, Ecuador. There's like hotspots around the world where there are thousands of these people living out of backpacks. They live in guest houses and they work in cafes or wherever they get Wi-Fi, and that's what they're doing. And it's a funny thing because they're ahead of the laws, right? So tax laws don't know what to do with these people because you're not stable anywhere, and the laws are all set up where you pay tax where you are.
Right.
Well, I'm 3 months in Bangkok, then I'm off to Chile, then I'm off here. Like, well, who do I pay tax to?
Well, and then we'll take it to the next level. What if you switch everything to digital currency?
Right.
You're finding more and more people are accepting Bitcoin and other forms of digital currency, so they start using that to pay for their rent, pay for their food, pay for their drinks,
Right.
pay for their travel.
There's no record of
Now,
anything.
what the fuck? And then they live in Thailand sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't.
Yeah, isn't that wild, man?
That's how it should be. The idea of you being constrained to a patch of dirt, and you have to have a piece of paper to show you the other people in the other patch of dirt so I can cross over. Can I enter into your kingdom?
Yeah.
Depends. Did you at one point in time drive your carriage
Right.
under the influence of wine? Not
That's
me, sir,
hilarious.
but I was in the car with close enough. Denied entry into my kingdom of Canada.
Out.
If you're in a car with someone and they're drunk and you're sober and you get pulled over, you're going to get a DUI. If you
What?
get that yes. If that person's drunk and you're an adult and you're sober and that person's drunk driving, you can get a DUI too.
What?
No shit.
Yeah,
I
you can
didn't
get in
know
trouble.
that.
You can get in trouble for allowing someone to drive a car. I don't know what find out what exactly the
That
law
is
is.
fucked.
Yeah, and how the
it's
fuck would you know?
Extremely similar. It's extremely similar. If you are, I believe it might be a state-to-state basis, or I might have just made it up, but I'm pretty sure it's true. If you are drunk,
I
and
hope
you're
he made it up. I really hope
nice.
he made it up.
If you are drunk and you have a passenger in your car, that passenger I think can get arrested as well.
Wow.
Even if they don't have a driver's license?
If they're an adult, I think they can get arrested as well. If they don't have a driver's license at all, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because then it's like, well,
Yeah.
officer, I took the wheel, but you're driving without a license. Like, well,
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
they won't my point being, they won't let you in Canada if you have a DUI. They'll go, fuck off, get out of here. They turn you around. They want no douchebags.
Yeah.
They won't let you in Canada if you have a violent assault on your arrest record.
I almost got kicked out of. Well, I almost got not let into Canada. I had
For
a big
what?
for having stolen a Snickers bar in Alaska in 1982.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I went to prison. I think I told that story.
Yeah,
on this
you did.
podcast. Yeah, so
That's hilarious.
So, but I was told, like, when I did 4 days, and then I went before the magistrate, and he said, if you don't get arrested again in a year, this will go off your record and all that. So ever since, when I've been asked if I've ever been convicted of a crime, I always said no, because I figured
Right.
it's not on my record. I don't want to confuse everybody and, whatever. But the first time we went into Canada at BC, he asked all these questions, and we went and sat down, and he called me up, like, no, just you, not my wife. And he's like, is there anything you want to tell me about 1982? And I said, 1982? I don't know. I was in college. I don't know what. He said, arrest and conviction, Fairbanks, Alaska. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? And I told him I ate a Snickers bar in a fucking grocery store, and it turned into this thing. But they told me it wasn't on my record. And he said, well, Canada gets your FBI records. And so if you're ever, so like there's a federal level where that shit doesn't go away.
You know, it's even more deep because Eddie Bravo got arrested and never even went to jail. And it shows up every time he goes into Canada.
Yeah.
He got arrested because he worked for a check cashing company. And so he used to drive around with large sums of cash on him. And he got pulled over by the cops. Cops pulled him over and he said, "Officer, I want to let you know that I have a loaded handgun in the car. Here's my license to have it." They go, "Please step out of the car." They handcuff him. They check everything, make sure it's all kosher. Everything checks out. They let him go. But that incident is on his record. So when he goes into Canada, they pull him aside every time. I got stuck with him once. Now I fucking, if we go to Canada together, I let that dude get ahead of me. Like, dude, I'll fucking meet you outside. Because he gets dragged into that room, and then they start asking you questions too. And I'm like, dude.
At least they're Canadian.
Yeah.
Dude,
here's
where it
coming
gets,
the other way.
Here's where it gets.
Here it is. If you can't offer a convincing defense as to why you weren't driving, you may also be arrested and charged with reckless endangerment.
Wow.
The arresting officer will argue that you put yourself, the driver, and members of the public in danger by allowing your friend to drive drunk. Their case may be bolstered by the presence of other passengers in the vehicle.
Wow.
Yep.
You'll need to prove that the paragraph before that, it said you need to prove that you're not currently licensed to drive, don't know how to drive, or have a medical restriction that prevents you from driving. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, see? So I'm kind of right.
So you're better off being shit-faced. So if you're shit-faced and your friend's driving, then you're okay.
Yeah. If
'Cause
you're
you say,
shit-faced and your friend's
"You're
driving,
fine."
like, I wouldn't fucking drive. I'm drunk, man. I'm so drunk I didn't even know he was drunk.
So if you get pulled over and you're not drunk, hit that bottle
Yeah, just
before the
throw it
cop
all
comes
over
up to
your
the
face.
car.
Guess so.
Just splash whiskey all over your
That's
face and fall
hilarious.
asleep.
If you're hammered, you're okay.
He should play sleepy.
Or just say, I took acid more than 5 times. I'm legally
Legally
insane.
insane.
I couldn't drive.
Dude, the real scary thing about what you're talking about, as far as like getting in other countries because it's shit on your record, this is something that when I interviewed Aaron Frank at Singularity University, they try to like think about like what are the implications of these technologies. So you know the recent terrorist attack where they shot up the people, that couple shot up the people, and apparently, even though I think this got disproven, San Bernardino, they were talking about how one of them was a professed jihadist on their Facebook page,
Right.
and they're saying, well, we don't check whatever they've posted on Facebook, we don't do that. And you know, a lot of news stations are saying, a lot of people are saying, what the fuck, that's crazy, you should check that, you should definitely check that. So at Singularity University, they were saying, what happens if the society changes so much that shit that you've posted online and admitted to doing becomes illegal? What happens then when all of that stuff is infinitely accessible by all future governments? What happens when, if like, who knows? You know, this is the scary thing to me.
Well, that happened, right, with McCarthy and the
Right.
communist
Shit can
hunt.
shift. Just
Yeah.
that. And that's the terrifying thing. And I don't want to put negative energy out there. I think we're all beings of love and ultimately everything's going to be okay. But the one scary thing about when you look at like for-profit war, for-profit conflict, and you look at the fact that there is a benefit to some awful thing happening in the United States on a big scale, there's a monetary benefit to a great many people living in the United States, weapons manufacturers, legislators, people who just get off on controlling other people, and you realize that it not only benefits them, but there also is a huge incentive for people in other parts of the world to create that event, knowing that all it takes is one catastrophic event. One catastrophic event. We're like, what, one dirty bomb away, one new September 11th away from experiencing one of the greatest diminutions of personal liberty that has ever happened in this country. And there's a lot of people who would like that to happen, and they're not just terrorists. There's people who would like that to happen who run prisons. There are people who would like that to happen who want World War III to happen because they sell weapons. And that to me is fucking scary to think. And if something like that did happen, and we enter into some new Orwellian awfulness, then and all your shit that you've posted every single one of your podcasts show you're going first, man.
I'm
you
going
know
to
what
Canada.
What?
I'm moving to Canada.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You can't get into Canada. You can't get into fucking Canada with the stuff you posted on your Facebook page. And
They won't let me in?
Well, no. I mean, we're talking
Or they
about
won't
coming
let
by
you
a boat.
out.
What's
I'll
that?
stay. Then I'll stay.
I think you got to get out now. That's why I'm going next
Maybe
week.
Australia.
Safe. Nowhere is
Australia
safe.
seems like a good move.
Australia's awesome.
Melbourne.
Yeah, Australia's nice.
Melbourne's amazing.
Although there's
Sydney's pretty nice too.
No, they've got some seriously strict drug laws, man. I was
New South Wales,
I was in Australia at the actually I was in New Zealand, not Australia. Sorry. I think Australia has strict drug
They
laws
do.
too.
New South Wales does.
They'll
Yeah.
bring sniffer dogs around, you know, like we're out in public just to try to find weed
Well,
on
you're
people.
fucked then. You can't even wash the weed out of your hair.
Out of your
It's not
beard.
enough.
beard.
Dogs are gonna smell it. Like they're baying a cat. Like a cat's up a tree.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think
not
again, I
perfect.
think we're there. I mean, you keep phrasing things in terms of like, what if we're on the verge of? And I keep thinking, dude, we've been there for a long time.
Yikes.
I mean, Eisenhower's, his parting speech, the military-industrial complex is, he was warning. We're in a situation after World War II where the Army doesn't stand down. All these industries that sprang up. Los Angeles is a result of World War II, right? Raytheon and Boeing, they're all on the West Coast because they were pumping out those airplanes and ships to go beat the Japs. And then they're looking for something to do. Well, they got to keep us on a war footing
I
forever.
just consulted my Harvard placemat, and you shouldn't say Japs.
Oh,
Did
I
he
say
say
Japs?
Japs?
Said Japs.
I thought I said nips. I'm sorry.
Jesus fucking
Oh my God, that's
Christ.
even worse. It's cultural appropriation. You're culturally appropriating their word.
Sushi
You just don't
eating.
under-
Nippon.
Yeah.
That always gets me that we make up names for countries. We don't like the name they use. What do you guys call yourself? Nippon?
Yeah.
We don't like
Nah,
it.
we're gonna change
Japan.
it. Yeah.
Japan, please.
Yeah.
We just decide. Like there's a bunch of them like that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
quite a few countries like that. Isn't Greece? The Greece they don't call themselves Greece, right? What do they call themselves?
It's Greek to me. I don't know.
Turkey. Do they call themselves Turkey?
I don't know.
There's a few countries
I don't
like
know.
that. I don't remember where
and,
they are.
And does the word they use mean turkey?
I don't know.
You know? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's the same as that bird. If it wasn't for Thanksgiving, would anybody give a fuck about turkey? Like,
No, I
really?
don't think
Besides
so.
The
people
country?
who hunt turkey. No, I
No.
mean,
No,
like the
nobody
bird.
likes to eat turkey.
I mean, it's good, but it's not the best.
not
Like,
that
chicken
great.
is better than turkey. Can we agree?
Yeah, there's no Kentucky Fried Turkey.
Yeah, there's no turkey stores.
No.
There's chicken stores everywhere. There's Popeye's chicken. There's Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I
There's
wonder if
probably
Edward
Church's
Bernays-
chicken.
Turkey King.
You know,
Chick-fil-A?
Edward Bernays.
There's no Turk filet.
Bacon for breakfast is completely an invention of this advertising guy.
No
Really?
way.
Yeah, he was hired by the company. I forget the name of the company, but they're still around in some form. That hired him to sell more pork, and so he came up with this idea like bacon and eggs. It's what's for breakfast. You got to like integrate it into the cultural tradition.
Breakfast meat.
Wow.
And ever since then, it's been considered breakfast meat, and boom.
Meanwhile, it's awesome. So congratulations, sir.
He was also behind the fluoridation of the water supply, hired by Alcoa because they had all this byproduct of making aluminum, which is this fluoride, and they wanted to like, what are we going to do with all this stuff? You know, we got to find a way to sell it. Who could we sell it to? And he figured out like, oh, we can, it's good for dental. It'll save everyone, and get the government to buy it.
That's so funny we accept that, man. Because, like, if someone comes over to your house and you're like, do you want some water? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, do you want me to add some fluoride to it? You're going to be like, fuck you.
But yeah, it is a chemical that kills you. So yeah,
And
Yeah, go
chlorine-
ahead
yeah.
and could you put a little fluoride in your...
fluoride can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
for
it
sure.
doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like how much kills you? Like a couple teaspoons full?
I have no
But
idea.
you die with white teeth.
But is that real? What's going on with dental hygiene versus? I mean, is it fluoride in the water that makes a difference, or being conscious of dental hygiene that's made the difference in tooth decay in people?
Well, I mean, you talking to me, I'm always going to take it back to foragers. Foragers
Right.
have amazing teeth.
They're
There's
all
this
ground
guy.
down from eating roots and shit, though.
Well, some if
and
there's
biting
if
each other.
there's sand in the diet.
what is this?
Weston Smith.
What is this? What are you putting this up
Oh,
for?
this is Bernays.
The
Yeah,
guy
he's-
that said that get the bacon for breakfast, and he is also responsible for fluoride in the water.
And
That's what
Dixie
he just
cups,
said, right?
Yeah.
For Dixie cups.
See, Jamie is
Campaign
just
for
like
Dixie cups.
showing that I'm not full of shit. I love it,
Scared
Jamie.
people
Thank
into
you.
thinking that they were drinking out of what? What? Look at this. His campaign for Dixie cups scared people into thinking the glasses they were drinking out of were unsanitary and could be replaced by disposable cups.
Wow.
Did you read this before you put it up? That's insane.
Oh yeah, and it was the Beech Nut Packing Company that hired him for the
God, what a
pork.
cunt this guy was.
It's amazing.
But the bacon he got right.
Oh, he got everything right, man.
He's dead on with the bacon. Bacon's awesome.
He also was behind the Virginia Slims thing. Like, how can we use feminism to get women to buy cigarettes? It's a feminist cigarette.
That's
You've come
right.
a long way, baby.
I bet that guy got laid like crazy. I bet he was just a fucking maestro.
And he was Freud's nephew.
Oh my goodness! So
Yeah.
he had the benefit of psychological examination under his uncle.
And he's proud of himself. Like, he doesn't
Oh,
seem
yeah.
slightly
No,
ashamed of
no,
any
no.
of
Dead?
it.
He
But-
just died like 10 years ago.
No, but
Shit.
there's interviews with him where he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
he did all this shit.
well, he's
like,
probably happy. His success ratio was amazing, right?
Oh, he hit everyone out of the park over and over.
If that's what you're trying to do, and no one tells you it's evil, I mean, no one really. You know what's really fucked up is those goddamn drug commercials. Those drug commercials
Oh,
where people
yeah.
are happy and they're walking hand in hand in
Yeah.
meadows, and then they start talking about explosive, bloody diarrhea.
But they always do it in that voice
Yeah.
that I think we're being trained to ignore. There's
Yeah.
that voice at the end of the thing.
Yeah.
Side effects may include whatever.
Yeah.
Just ignore what I'm saying and watch the pretty
Yeah.
picture. Watch the pretty picture. Ask your doctor
Exactly.
about this bullshit.
They should have to show you those side effects while they're doing it. Oh, this is hilarious. I don't know if you've seen this. I tweeted this the other day. Australia came up with this thing called the stoner sloth, and it's so stupid that it's backfiring and causing people to smoke pot.
Also, Stoner Sloth, if you go to stonersloth.com, it's an actual weed website. So what's funny about it is that it actually brought all this business to, because if you go to stonersloth.com.au, I don't know the exact, yeah, there it is.
Stoner.
Yeah, if you go to stonersloth, whatever their website is, .au, yeah, there you go.
And they only sell indica.
Yeah,
There
that's
it
right.
is.
Yeah, there it is.
You're worse on weed.
No,
stoner sloth.
so that's AU. Now take the AU off. I haven't tried it. I might embarrass myself here, but in an article I read, they said it goes to a weed website. Oh, I guess not.
Maybe somebody bought it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
The
Welcome to
government
Stoner
shut
Sloth
it down.
Social network. They have a Stoner Sloth social network. What do they think
Oh,
it's going
that's
to turn to the next
social. I don't
Facebook?
know.
They think it's going to turn to the next Facebook.
But yeah, this is like a big embarrassment. They're
Anyway,
like,
let's play it because it's fucking so stupid. It's so stupid. It's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It's so dumb. But it's like that fucking thing. Here's the thing about the talking dog commercial that we all enjoyed back in the day.
Yeah.
Those were made by a Partnership for a Drug-Free America. And the fucked up part about a Partnership for a Drug-Free America is they're funded by alcohol and tobacco companies and pharmaceutical companies. And my joke was, that's like hookers doing commercials against strippers.
Right.
And it really is. Like them doing commercials against
Right.
pot it's insane. Like they're not against drugs. Just
our
against the
drugs.
drugs that they don't sell.
Yeah.
Here.
Pens down. Delilah. Pens down, Delilah.
It's a sloth that's in class. You're worse on weed, stoner sloth. But little did the creators
There.
know. Oh, I see. That stonersloth.com.
There
wow,
it
somebody
is.
put it down. Is also the name of an online cannabis product retailer. It's not on. It's not up anymore though. That's what's weird. I wonder if their website got crushed.
yeah, maybe.
Stoner sloth. Yeah. Well, this is something that Australia is doing because they're kind of behind the times when it comes to marijuana propaganda. They're still buying into some shit that we thought of 15, 20 years ago. New South Wales government ads. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
So Australia would be perfect if it had weed, but that's the thing about the world. There's no perfect place. You know,
Right.
you go to the most amazing jungle island habitat, and well, you're gonna hang out with these fucking people.
Right.
You know, Australia though. Other than their stance
the
on
best.
weed, Melbourne's one of my favorite places I've ever been.
Yeah. Remind me a lot of San Francisco.
Yeah.
The sort of cafe vibe and
Yeah.
progressive, interesting
Very smart.
people.
Very smart people.
You guys should do I went down there to do this thing called the Festival of Dangerous Ideas. You guys would both fit right into the vibe. It's really cool. It's like TED. I think we might have talked about it. It's like TED, but without the sort of brand protection paranoia. You know?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it too. Brand protection.
They're just like, just say something crazy and provocative, and we just want people to walk out of here talking about whatever you say. And
that's great. Bring that shit to LA and we're in. Because we're not getting on a fucking plane flying across the ocean to sound provocative in your country where you get arrested for weed still.
But they do it in the Sydney Opera House. That's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I played there. That's an awesome spot.
Yeah.
Sydney's awesome too. I like Sydney as well. I like both. I like Sydney. Melbourne was interesting because the food was fucking sensational.
Oh yeah, a lot of that Asian market food.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you go up to the Barrier Reef and do all that
No.
business? I didn't either.
I was only up there for a few days for the fights and for I had a couple shows.
Oh, you were there
when I
just
was there.
recently for the
Yeah.
Rousey thing. Yeah.
It's amazing how wrecked your brain gets when you come back. Like just wrecked.
Yeah.
Like, for days.
Yeah.
Like I would work out and I'd just be like, where I'd normally be able to do like 10 reps of something, I'd get to like 6. I'd be like, fuck, I got 3 more, 7, fuck, 2 more. I just couldn't do it. I almost couldn't do the same physical things that I used to do. I mean, I could get to it, but like if I was going to do 10 reps, I'd probably get to like 9 or 8. But getting to it would be way harder.
Yeah.
But
I was
like,
amazed. I couldn't believe it, man. And everyone's like, you're going to be fucked up for about a week from that. It's true. It really does wreck you.
It does something weird to you. Like you feel like your battery is like broken.
Well, this guy Dan, who does all this sleep research, this is his area. Like he's looking into why that fucks you up so bad, and can you change melatonin, and using different medications and different techniques. He works with SEALs and stuff. He's like a hardcore guy. And apparently there are all these techniques that you can do, changing your sleep cycle before you go, and time so you wake up at a different time and all that. It just seems like too much trouble to me.
Well, you know what they say, too? This is very bizarre. It's way harder to go from Australia to the United States than it is to go from the United States to Australia.
Right.
Like, apparently that doesn't fuck up your circadian rhythms as much.
Yeah, going east is harder.
We're just so weird because we want to think of ourselves as being, like, very simple, very autonomous little beings that I just need my food, my vitamins, and I'm normal. No, you're, like, tied into the cycles of the earth itself, the light and dark, the literal rising and setting of the sun has a direct effect on the rhythm of your body.
Yeah.
Your biological operating system falters when you throw that, and it has to readjust and set things back.
And think about women who are menstruating with the phases of the moon every month. I mean, that's really intense.
Wow, but my favorite one is when a bunch of chicks live together and they start smelling each other's pussies, and their bodies don't even realize it, but they get these coinciding menstrual cycles.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, how strange is that?
And if that's happening, what other stuff is happening that we don't know about? Like, how much are humans harmonizing with each other in other ways that we aren't even aware of?
Well, my favorite example of that is this guy, Bruce Wedekind in Switzerland, who did research that's become known as the sweaty T-shirt study. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but so he wanted to understand why women's sense of smell is so much stronger than men's. Women can smell about 7 times more than men.
Really?
Yeah, which is
7 times?
If you come home with, smelling funny, you're not going to get away with it.
Wow, that sucks for them, man.
Oh, you mean coming home smelling funny, like smelling like pussy on you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't think you're going to get away with that. So anyway, he wanted to understand why is this? And his hypothesis was that women are picking up information about men's immune system from their pheromones, from the way they smell. Because you'll hear women often will say, like, he's a cool guy, he's got a good job, he's funny, whatever, but the smell's not right. It's a deal breaker.
The smell. They'll say the smell.
The smell. And it's not that he smells bad. It's just the smell's not right. That'll be a deal breaker for a lot of women. You never hear a dude say that, right?
Yeah, but people do smell better. Like, some people just smell good. Like, just smell them. They just want to squeeze them. They smell good. And I'm not talking about, like, perfumes or anything.
Yeah, just body
Which I kind of
feels
find
right.
a little bit offensive. I've always felt like perfume's a little offensive. Like, I want to know what's going on here. Why are you tricking me?
Because it's masking.
Yeah, you're tricking me with your fucking smoke bomb thrown down. I can't... I'm trying to find out where's the real you in there.
Right.
Like, when no one's ever smelled a woman, like a healthy woman, and go, man, wish you'd fucking spray some roses on this bitch.
Right.
Well, France in the old days.
Well, that's a different thing, right? You're dealing with personal hygiene issues. But today, when you're dealing with people that take regular showers, bathe, they don't stink.
Sorry, just to finish the story, so check this out, because this is important knowledge for people to have. So he got a bunch of guys who were deficient in one part of their immune response, and then a bunch of women who were also deficient in one part. The immune response, it's called immune histocompatibility index. And let's say it has 5 elements. So they would find a bunch of guys who were low in 1 or 2 or number 3 or number 4, whatever, and women who had the same different deficiencies. The hypothesis was that a woman who's low in factor 3 won't be attracted to men who are low in factor 3. They'll be attracted to men who are high in factor 3 because then the babies will be healthy, right?
Right.
So he gets these guys to wear T-shirts for 3 days and nights with no deodorant, no showers, no soap, nothing. Then puts the T-shirts in plastic bags. Then he has the women smell the bags and mark on a piece of paper how attractive they thought the men were, based only on the smell of the T-shirts, right? And he found that with 80% of the women, they chose as he predicted, that they chose the men high in the thing that they were low in, and they avoided the men who were low in the thing that they were low in. But in about 20%, they seemed to be choosing randomly. So he went back and looked at the women again and found that those 20% were on birth control pills.
Whoa.
So the birth control pill short circuits that response.
Whoa.
So think of how many couples have gotten together when she's on the pill, and they both like Louis C.K. Joe's looking into the distance. Was she on the pill when I met her? I talked about this at an interview in San Francisco on the PBS station down there, and as I'm talking, the guy's making the gesture like, that happened to me, but be quiet, don't say it. And after the interview, he's like, dude, that's exactly, my wife went off the pill, and she was done with me. She didn't want me sleeping in the same bed. She didn't want me in the same house.
Spooky.
Whoa.
A lot of marriages are falling apart because they got together when the woman couldn't smell his compatibility, and it's not his fault.
Shit.
Yeah, isn't that heavy?
That's a mind blower.
And it's one of these things, like Duncan was saying, where we ignore these natural reflexes to our detriment. You know, we pretend we're not animals. Fuck that. Of course we're animals.
Well, just the coinciding menstrual cycles alone, obviously, there's some crazy shit going on, but that is like another level crazy shit that I didn't even think about. All the factors that would lead to you being out of whack if your body's constantly thinking it's pregnant. And that's what the pill does.
Right.
It tricks your body into thinking, don't get pregnant, you're already pregnant.
And that's why a lot of women have much less libido when they're on the pill.
Oh, yeah.
You're already pregnant. Why?
Some girls,
do
it's
it?
really bad.
Yeah.
I dated a girl, and off the pill, she was so fucking horny. But then she got on the pill, and it was like, it just stopped. And then she got off the pill again. She's like, we got to figure out something else because I don't even like sex. When I'm on the pill, she's like, I'm totally disinterested.
Wow.
But off the pill, she was crazy horny. It was like a switch went off. It took like 2 days. She started taking the pills, and then it just just shut down. She would be dry. It was like, it was crazy. And then off the pill, she's a freak. It's nuts.
That concept, though, that there's this like data field, like a chemical data field surrounding everybody.
Makes sense.
That you can tune into and understand aspects of like deep aspects, to know a person's like some specific deficiency in their immune system just from your nose. That's crazy. And that kind of stuff lends credence to the idea of telepathy or clairvoyance, or people who can read other people really well. Like maybe they're just somehow better at like detecting whatever chemical field is around the person and can decode it in a certain way.
And what are we doing with like people? We have a whole culture of women that are taking pills that trick their body into not being able to recognize the clues of compatibility.
Yeah, think about how many kids are born with health deficiencies because of this. Because people low in, number 3 and get together, and these kids have.
Wow.
Yeah, there's all sorts of. We were talking earlier about smearing vaginal fluid on a newborn baby who's born through C-section. Again, we're pretending we're not animals we're pretending there's not, huge benefit in being contaminated with life, that we're these sterile creatures that exist separate from our shit and our piss and our...
It's one of the things you realize from grappling and jiu-jitsu, when you guys start getting really into it, that you have to keep a healthy biome. You have to keep healthy skin flora. It's critical. Like one of the first things they tell you when you start training is you should start taking supplements like acidophilus, something probiotic, because you want to keep your skin flora healthy. And you want to not use antibiotic soap. Like a lot of times when people get infections, one of the problems is they've created a barren wasteland on the surface of their skin. So infections take hold, and then you treat those infections with more antibiotics, and you kill off all the natural healthy, like acidophilus is, in particular, is supposed to be aggressive towards certain types of infections. So that, like, if you keep a healthy skin flora, you're less likely to get things like ringworm or things along those lines.
Well, this is also what they're talking about. There's a new kind of antibiotic resistant.
Yeah.
What is that? Can you explain that? Because I keep reading about it. It sounds terrifying.
Well, it's, the pathogens are constantly mutating, right, in response to whatever antibiotics have been developed. And we've come to the end of this particular line of antibiotics. So there are no more variations on this molecule, right? They keep tweaking it. And they've tweaked it every which way possible. And this pathogen has mutated once again, as we knew it would. And there's nothing. There's there's no response. So if you get this infection, you're dead.
Fucked. It puts us back to the, 14? It puts us way back. It puts us back to where if a
to the
cat
plague
scratched
or whatever.
you got to get your arm amputated.
Well, we had, Rhonda Patrick. Have you ever listened to her? Dr. Rhonda Patrick?
Yeah, I think I have, yeah.
She had a pretty significant MRSA infection, a staph infection that
that's
just
a
wouldn't
bad
go
one.
away. And you know how she fixed it? With topical use of ground garlic and grapeseed extract. She's like, the ground garlic apparently has this radical effect on MRSA. And another thing that supposedly helps too is cannabis oil.
Yeah.
Cannabis oil is supposed to be really good at fighting off staph infections.
You know what else is good? I mean, I don't know about staph, but
Pussy juice.
Seawater. Seawater's good. My wife irrigated wounds with seawater a lot in Mozambique. And pissing on your feet keeps the athlete's foot away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? Yeah, we were taught that in
Uric
wrestling.
acid. Yeah.
In wrestling, if you got athlete's foot, you piss on your feet. I'm like,
Yeah, or
what?
just piss on your feet every morning. Especially that first piss is really because it's full of uric acid accumulated overnight. Just piss on your feet every morning in the shower, and you just don't get athlete's foot.
Well, that's why people drink their piss. They would drink their first piss of the morning because it supposedly has all their vitamins and nutrients in it. It's very bizarre practice.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
That's the right response.
I've done it. I've drank my piss a few times to
Did
experiment.
it help?
I don't know. Well, probably not. I'm probably better off with a multivitamin.
'Cause it seems to me, if you were meant to drink your piss, then you wouldn't piss.
Yeah, well,
your body
monkeys-
would just send it right back in.
Right. Yeah, but why are your balls on the outside?
To keep
Some
them-
people can kick them.
No, it's to keep them cool.
I know. But,
oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some flaws in the system.
That's a wrong metaphor for me, man. I don't think pissing's a flaw. I mean, come on.
It is if, otherwise you would dehydrate. I mean, if you never dehydrate, if your body would never express water in that way, like you take water in, you keep a healthy level, and it's like oil in your car. Your level's there, you're good.
You're
but
good.
no, we're constantly getting rid of it. But I guess it actually cycles through your body and it takes impurities out.
Exactly.
There's a lot of other things going on when you drink a lot of water. That's why one of the things that happens to people when they're dehydrated, they get kidney stones.
Yeah.
You get crystallized things in your body, and you have to piss those out of your dick hole.
I had a kidney stone.
Were you dehydrated?
Whoa. I don't think so. Does beer count?
Well, it's diuretic.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right? Alcohol's diuretic, right?
Yeah, but they say it dehydrates you, alcohol, ultimately.
Yeah.
But
It
here's an
happens to a lot of
interesting
fighters.
piss fact. Did you know that all animals piss the same amount of time?
All of them?
It's this bizarre fractal thing. Yeah, Jimmy can confirm
Jamie,
whether
his
that
name's Jamie.
Sorry,
How dare you.
Jimmy.
Call him Young Jamie.
Young Jamie. Yeah, apparently it's like the size of the bladder and the volume of the urethra it's like a fractal thing where it could be a mouse or an elephant. So a full piss takes the same amount of time for an elephant as it does for a mouse.
Whoa. Well, have you ever
Wow.
seen an elephant piss? It's like, Jesus
I've
Christ.
never seen it.
It's a waterfall.
You
It's
ain't
insane.
drinking that.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Most mammals take
There
21
it is.
seconds to
Okay.
Is that, so it's
most.
the same with humans?
Not if you're drinking beer.
Well,
You ever
but,
had one of them
but it's
long-ass
the
beer
size of
pisses?
your bladder, right? So it doesn't matter what's in it.
Yeah, but if you fully hold your piss in for like a long time, and you finally get to a bathroom, and you're like, I've definitely pissed longer than 20 seconds.
That was really nice of them to include an image of a beagle pissing in case you wondered what it looked like.
It's probably the least offensive
That's funny.
penis that they could find.
Exactly.
Like one that doesn't represent the
A
patriarchy.
beagle.
You couldn't get like a pit bull
And
dick.
they got racehorse in there. Did you see that? So it will pee for about as long as a rhino or racehorse because people say, I piss like a racehorse. I got to piss like a racehorse.
But I think they're just talking volume. You ever seen a racehorse piss? Good Lord.
Yeah.
The volume is just
and
stunning.
it comes fast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just stunning.
High pressure.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
So I'll tell you what, this kidney stone made me think there is a God and he loves me or she because it was a horrible thing. You guys haven't had a kidney stone, right?
No.
It's just like, so I wake up. I think I told this story on a live podcast I did with you in San Francisco
I don't
a
remember.
long time ago. Yeah, I remember thinking, why am I telling this story? But so I woke up excruciating abdominal pain. Casilda, my wife, who's a doctor, thought I had a gas like bubble in my intestine, so she like had me upside down on the sofa with a funnel stuck in my ass, and she was pouring.
Holla. I like how we party at Chris Ryan's house.
She's pouring extra virgin olive oil up my ass.
Jesus
and I remember
Christ.
lying there
That's
upside
someone who
down.
cares about you.
That's what I remember thinking. Like, honeymoon's over. We're into marriage now. This is marriage. But because she's a doctor. She's
Right.
completely like the body's the body.
Right.
She doesn't give a shit.
It's clinical.
But anyway, it turns out it was a kidney stone. Long story, it had already gone into the tube between my kidney and my bladder. And so that's what the pain is, that it's sort of scraping its way down the tube. But it didn't block the flow, so I wasn't having the kidney infection, which people sometimes get that's really dangerous.
Would they do then? They operate on you?
Well, what they wanted to do is they send sound waves in from your back, from the back and the front, and they calibrate it so that the waves meet right where the stone is.
Now,
and
when you say the back and the front, you mean your dick hole and your butthole?
No, it's in your abdomen.
Oh.
It's going from your kidney in this little tube down to your bladder.
Well, how do they get that sound in there?
So they do an X-ray and find exactly where it is, right? And then they have like sonogram machines, right, that are sending vibrations in, and they meet at the point where the stone is, and they'll break it into sand, and then you can piss it out. So
What?
yeah, it's great.
What?
But unfortunately, mine had already passed through the tube into my bladder by the time they got around to it. So they're like, well, if it's in the bladder, we can't do it. We're going to have to go in through your dick, through your pee hole, with like needle nose pliers. They go up and grab this thing and then pull it out through your
You're
dick.
awake? You awake while this is happening?
Yeah. And I asked, and I had the meeting with the anesthesiologist, and I'm like, can you just put me under for this? Like, I do not want to be awake when
No, I
something's
want to
going.
look in your eyes.
She
I want
said,
to see the soul scream behind your retina.
man up, boy. So I was like not into this, right? And I'm on the waiting list. and it's like any day they're going to call me and I'm going to go in and they're going to like put this thing up my dick. And meanwhile, it was New Year's Eve. Casilda and I wake up in the morning, New Year's Day morning. We have sex. I go downstairs to the bathroom and I'm pissing in the bathroom sink because we have this Asian toilet. Squat toilet. So if I piss in that standing up, it splashes all over. So the deal is I piss in the sink and rinse it and it's fine. You never notice. Notice.
Okay.
So I'm pissing down the side of the sink and bloop, out comes the stone. Painless.
How big is it? How big is it?
It's like half, I don't know, is that a centimeter? Something like that, about the size of your fingertip.
It's a real rock.
It was like a snowflake. It was a wafer. Thicker than a snowflake, but like a wafer. It just popped out, and somehow it had gotten into the tube, and the orgasm, the ejaculation, pushed it right up to the end of my dick. Wow. And then when I pissed, it just popped out. It was no pain at all. It was masked by the orgasm.
So it lubed it up.
It lubed it up, and it filled my head with endorphins or whatever when I was having the orgasm, so I didn't feel the pain. I felt like a slight burn, but like, yeah, whatever. It was fantastic. So that's my kidney stone story. So
Wow.
I think I'm
you
being
save it?
looked over. Cassie took it to the hospital and had it analyzed.
What'd they say?
I guess they can by looking at the chemical composition, they can tell what causes it, if it's a chronic thing or if it's dehydration or whatever.
What if it was from another planet, bro? What if it was an
Exactly.
alien
That'd be
implant?
amazing.
It was moon rock.
You're pissing out
How
an
did
alien
moon rock get in there?
implant.
Tiny little writing on it.
Well, when Duncan and I were doing that silly
Ruined.
Help me, I'm stuck in here.
when Duncan and I were doing that silly show, the Joe Rogan Questions Everything show, we ran into these people that do think that they have implants in their body that aliens have, and they'll find like some bizarre imperfection in their skin. And they'll swear that wasn't there before, and that there's something in there. And one of them was insanely hot, and we got Duncan to talk to her, and Duncan's like, "Yeah, I mean, probably, I mean, most likely, yeah, I mean, totally makes sense."
No, I was
if
being
he-
a good journalist. How
If he
dare
was-
you?
if it was a bald fat man in his 60s,
You're fucking
Duncan would have
crazy.
went like, "Wait a minute, why do you think that that's an alien implant? Why wouldn't you
resent
just think
this.
it's a scratch?"
I resent this.
I missed that episode.
No, you're questioning my journalistic integrity.
Well, you were amazing when you talked to the underground bunker guy who was going to start a cult.
Now that was intense, man.
That was intense.
I'll never forget driving around in that underneath that mountain with that guy. It was pretty nuts, man.
The guy has an underground mountain base, like ready for the apocalypse. They're
Renting
ready to-
RV spaces.
In New Mexico or something?
Where was
I
it?
can't remember, man. I just know it's out in the
Arizona or
middle
some
of
shit?
nowhere.
Renting.
So you can
RVs,
like rent a space,
like a parking.
You park
a
your
parking
RV.
space,
You
and
take your camper van.
But they had this like underneath this mountain. There's, he'd set up example homes that you could live in this paradise, and he kept saying how like there's gonna be a wine bar. That's one thing he kept saying. But
Everyone you know is dead, but there's a wine
Enjoys
bar.
nice-
But what was weird is that you got out of him that he was gonna be the king.
that's right. Yeah, he was. He was
of
gonna be in
course.
charge, man. And he had set up an RV with a little bit of astroturf in front of it and like some playground equipment. So like that's what the future looked like under there. It's like your kids would be able to play in the darkness of this massive cavern after and he kept saying how they were about to have like an airtight door put in, and
Yeah.
really spooky. There's a lot of different places like that. There's a lot of caverns that people are planning on living in
Yeah,
when
and
the
they'll call
shit
it
hits the fan.
progress.
Did this guy dig it out, or was it always
It
there?
was the military had used it. The military dug it out. They were using it as some kind of storage facility, and so he bought it from them and then converted it to this like theoretically dystopian future place that you go to save yourself when the bombs go off.
Sounds like an alien movie. Like they just didn't tell them that they had stored alien artifacts in that same location, and while they're
Oh,
there,
yeah,
the
that's cool.
thing it comes alive, and like we have movement in the corridor. What?
Right.
There's nothing in the corridor but us. We've
Right.
double checked and triple checked. Well, we just found this manuscript, and we're not sure what to make of it. But if
Yeah,
it-
man. That's.
It sounds like that movie Room to me. Did you guys see
Room?
that?
Which
Room,
one's that?
Room.
Room?
It's about this woman who's like kidnapped by this dude who locks her in a room and rapes her, and it's this terrible thing. But she has a kid, and the kid doesn't know there's a world outside.
Oh,
and so she wants the kid to be happy, so she tells him all these stories and all this stuff, and the kid grows up in this garage basically thinking like that's the whole world. And you think about it, that's applicable to, I mean, talk about a metaphor, you
Yeah.
know? We're told what reality is. We're told what to believe. And, yeah, it's the Matrix. It's all these things.
the Matrix, Gnosticism. It's the idea that what we are in right now is actually an interdimensional prison. And we've been trapped by these super advanced beings that have kept us here called the Dark Archons, and that they like power and authority. And so so basically this idea, I think it's called Discordianism, but the idea is that because we are in an interdimensional prison where we've had reality, where we've had this consensus reality given to us by people like Bernays, Chef Bernays, who whipped up this reality tunnel that we're all existing in. Because we are in this situation, anyone enforcing the reality tunnel is a servant of the Dark Archons. So anybody who's like trying to uphold this bullshit reality that we've all gotten trapped in, they're actually a form of Satanists. And so as a religion, or any time that you do anything to break a ridiculous rule, anytime you do anything to break a mundane law, anytime you do anything to subvert the authority of someone getting off on their power, you are actually taking part in a kind of holy war and subverting this very ancient and terrible prison that all humanity is trapped in, where people parade around as though they have some kind of right to authority. Kings being the classic case, they somehow convinced people that they were gods on earth. Clearly just human beings, the ultimate liars. You're not a god, you're a human who's convinced us that you have some kind of power. And so anytime you do anything to subvert those people, whether it's some fucking asshole who's wearing a crown and has convinced you that he's a divine being sent here, or whether it's some son of a bitch in one of those reality shows who's like going through your pockets for weed, anytime you do anything to even disrupt that system a little bit, you're doing a holy act in the great war against the interdimensional prison keepers who are keeping us trapped here. Look up Discordianism. It's awesome.
And on that note, that's
rant?
3 hours in.
Oh, really?
How awesome.
We'll end it right there.
That's nice. I was going to say, I can hear that rant already on YouTube. Like that's,
It's already
people
there.
have already.
With animation and fucking dark
Exactly.
overlords. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. What are we calling this? Shrimp Parade?
Yeah.
That's
Shrimp
it.
Parade.
It's over.
Parade.
It's over, folks. Thank you, everybody. Much love. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was great. I got it.
I was.
I got a pitch like a racehorse.